Oh.
It is. I don't, but see, I know him really well. Then I could probably give you both information on him.
Position available. I wonder.
Okay, we will open this meeting of October 29th.
Yeah, so,
October. I wish it was October. It'd be nice. Of March 29th, 2012. Let the records be show that Selectman Jessamine is not present. The time being 4:35. I will like to make a motion to enter into non-public session as per RSA 91A:3, E, consideration or negotiation of pending claims or litigation which has been threatened in writing or filed against the body or agency or any subdivision thereof, or any against any member because of his or his membership in such body or agency, or till the claim of litigation has been fully adjudicated or otherwise settled.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to go into non-public. Roll call vote.
Aye.
yes.
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to legal issues until the matter is resolved.
Second,
Roll call vote.
yes?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to obtain the services of legal counsel in matters of
Legal? This?
legal issues.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on.
Was the public any input on this? Oh.
Is Chris waiting to come back up, or is he
He's
all
downstairs. He's talking to the girl.
You want to go to the phone?
I'll go to the phone. I'll go
Or
to the
just call Cindy downstairs and tell him he's all set.
Is Crystal down there?
I don't think he wanted to talk to us. I think he was just bringing information about that
Right.
case. I don't think he really wanted to talk with us.
All right.
These papers I handed you.
Yes.
Oh, I stuck him right here.
Hello? Hello? Is Crystal down there? Chris.
Puck out.
Yeah, tell me where I say you come upstairs. Thank you. Crystal? I'll call him Crystal. All right. Nothing from the public. Approval of the minutes.
All right.
I got some questions on these interrogatories. Is that a non-public? We can do it at the end.
Okay, public input. Minutes of 2-2 and non-public minutes. Let's take the minutes of 2-2.
Make a motion to bring the minutes of 2-2 to the floor for discussion and ultimate approval.
Second. This doesn't say it on the front, up at the top.
I have it on my packet.
Okay, okay, good. Yep.
page 2. It's about the second paragraph. After further discussion, Tim requested the board vote on closing. I think it should say Tim asked, leave out requested, the board to vote on closing police fund. Does that make sense? On page 3, second paragraph. I know Joyce is joyful, but...
Yes.
On page 4, Selectman Dawson, before Chair Constantino, while their diagram was not looked at, they were told of the most practical way to determine what they had for parking. Oh, that's when Joe and I went down to DOT. He looked at our diagram. What he didn't do was provide us with a parking diagram. He looked at what we had. So if you could just, either leave that out or make it say that, that would be great. Because he was very, very helpful. I don't want it to have a negative in there when they were really great. And underneath that, Chair Constantino gave the board on the senior center. That's probably a report, a talk, down at the bottom of the 4th page, 3rd sentence up, Chair Constantino gave the board on the senior center a report, a talk, something. That's all I had.
So critical.
Well, if people will look at that and go, what did you do?
Fine by me. Fine. $9:30 here. Will that work?
Nice. Okay, that works. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
What kind of costume for him to come here?
We'll have access to other stuff if they want it.
Oh, that's right.
Are you going to give him all of those files?
We should talk about that in the non-public at the end,
Yes, you
in
will.
case we slip up.
Yep.
I know I will.
What?
So he really looks out for his client.
Any more questions or concerns or additions on the minutes?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of 2/2/12 as corrected.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay. We had a couple of issues that we wanted to talk to
Yep.
the chief. Instead, we have Lieutenant Martin, so
Settled.
he has a couple of things for us as well.
Be a good day. Yeah.
That's very cool. This is currently what we have? I'm sorry.
As far, he just handed it to me and said, bring it down. So
Currently?
It looks like that is
Not
what-
proposed?
Well, she's looking at Catherine speed limit signs on our different roads. We're not figuring whether it's proposed or it indeed, in fact, they are.
Well, Cedar's 20.
Winter's 30, so that's
It's
Winter's
interesting.
30. So these are,
current.
yes, these are current.
Okay.
Cedar's 20, 15's Peabody Street. These are current. So we have before us the Highway Safety Project grant that the chief would like us to sign.
Is that the roadblock stuff
Yes.
that we sign every year?
DWI checkpoint, please.
The overtime?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, people shouldn't have any trouble seeing those signs.
Oh, did you know that you're on the Highway Safety Committee?
No, I didn't know that.
You are.
When did that happen? Must have been one time when I was...
3/20/12.
2012. Oh. Okay. Yeah, learn something new every day.
I just wanted to tell you so you could add it to your resume. Oh, well. All right. Where do we sign this? Submitted by...
I believe you just signed next to your name on the last page there.
No, because that only gives two names, that Catherine Dawson and
Oh, I can sign underneath.
Selectmen.
Just put Board of Selectmen and
Just put Board of Selectmen underneath it. I make a motion that we submit the application for Highway Safety Project Grant for the 2012 year. These are for sobriety checkpoints.
second that. I'm on the committee. Can I second? Well, you're on the committee too.
Yeah, that's fine, we're all on the committee. Is there any discussion on that? I can go through the detail. It's 5 checkpoints at 6 hours, 30 hours, 3 officers, $55.98 per hour, $5,038.20.
We know they work.
Yep,
Yeah.
we do know they work. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This isn't the motorcycle, this is just the road stuff.
This is just the DWI checkpoints.
Now, while they're signing that, we have a couple of enforcement issues that we wanted to bring up. We want, go ahead.
Parking. We have a parking ordinance. It has to be enforced. Or it doesn't make any sense to have one. For the past few weeks, we've had the same person violating the ordinance. Parking on Main Street, parking in a private parking space, parking in municipal employee space. There's absolutely no placard, no designation on the vehicle that they've complied. with getting any permits. So, whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall, we need to have some patrolling done. I've had a couple of people come up to me, one from in town, one from east town, wondering why we don't have any more patrols in the neighborhoods, which I assured them we do, but it's not as active as it used to be. Both of these people are older, and they feel much more secure. One of them lived alone. Seeing that police are actively patrolling the neighborhoods. I know you guys have been very busy with other things, but somehow we have to get, that has to take place 365 days a year, not just in the summer. When we have the young fellow, when we have a bicycle, somebody on a bicycle, right? Didn't we have someone on a bicycle that did tickets one year? Anyway.
Years ago.
It's got to be year-round.
Bicycle this
It's got to
year.
be a full-time activity.
Are we shorthanded right now?
Whether we're shorthanded or not, we can't ignore the safety of our taxpayers.
We have
I
people-
understand that, but I'm saying if we're shorthanded, do we need to bring either a part-timer on or a full-timer on?
Well,
To-
we just made a part-timer, a full-timer.
We did?
Yeah, Officer
Chairman.
Robinson went from part-time to full-time to fill in for Eric Adams leaving. Unfortunately, at some point, Officer Robinson is going to be going to academy for 3 months, so we will be down 5 officers. We currently have 1 officer on light duty until mid-April. And I understand we don't try to overlook stuff, but sometimes things get pushed down the priority list when other calls are coming in and other cases are being dealt with. But I will put out an email to make sure that they're checking the parking lots again. And is it just a municipal area? You said it was a private parking lot too, which...
It's all over the parking ordinance area. I mean, it happens in all of the municipal parking lots, except probably for the one over at Network Managers. I don't think anybody monitors it, but it's just not, there's no enforcement. Without enforcement, that doesn't make sense to have the ordinance.
We recently had a vehicle that was parked for 2 days on Main Street by the river, selling his vehicle. Wasn't there for anything else but selling his vehicle. And it was parked there for 2 days in a municipal parking. In a parking spot that would, during the day, would be, I believe, a 4-hour maximum.
It was a timed space. It had a time limit on the space.
Right.
Do we have a 4-hour maximum on spaces? We do? 4 hours. Wow.
We have merchants downtown that are parking in the municipal parking area with no stickers. And people are complaining to us that it's not being enforced. And yet some are getting ticketed for outdated stickers.
This is my next, I have something on that subject. When you guys put this in place, you guys put in place a certain date when they run out.
A year from the time, right?
It isn't the date in November.
Right,
It's not the, it's not when they purchase the ticket.
right.
Well, I would think to be on the fair side of life, if you purchase it 12/12/2012, then 12/12/2013 is when it should run out.
And we need to either number them differently or color them differently.
But do you see what I'm
Which
saying?
was, I know totally what you're
Because
saying,
it's unfair to,
which was our argument at the time.
because it's unfair to have somebody come in with 4 months left.
Well, we did talk about that, and they talked about prorating it, where if they were being short 4 months, you just reduce it down to what it would cost them to. And then that way they would be on a year cycle.
Right.
So it would only happen the first time they bought a ticket, a pass, parking sticker.
Now, with that great weather that we've had the last couple of weeks,
This week.
the motorcycle has arrived back on Main Street.
Reappeared. Winter rust.
There is a lot, and now we have people that are legitimately getting in their cars after 2 hours and moving to a different spot, and then moving to a different spot. Merchants, which is defeating the entire purpose of the whole parking, so that we could bring customers to the merchants.
Well, that seems to be a particular place all by itself has been doing that. One particular merchant.
Right.
And they were told the other day to go down to the police department, get a parking pass, so they can park in the parking lot where they're supposed to be parking. They've been warned. They've been warned numerous times, but now they've been warned about if they don't have that and they're parking somewhere, I would have to say there's no more warnings.
We have a few that have reached the no more warning
Right.
stage, and yet they're still out there doing the same thing. So their enforcement is not really, we can't wait just for the summer for enforcement. We're getting it from all ends.
Oh.
Yes, Chris?
Has the town ever thought about hiring a parking enforcement officer? Because a lot of towns, separate from the police department, have someone that just does parking enforcement. I know that one has it, one has it, they just commit a couple hours a day to do parking enforcement. You don't have to be just one officer to do parking enforcement. I don't know what they're paid, but I know they're around. If they're writing more tickets, it's going to offset whatever cost is.
I believe in the summertime we have the Explorers come in, right?
Right.
So in the wintertime, or in the fall, winter, spring, whatever time it is, I think that if we're out and about, we can assist them. I'm sure we can assist them. Call them up, say, this guy's been here that long.
Well, that's somewhat of an issue, because when you call up, it's like, you want me to do what? It's like, parking? Do you know what we're doing right now?
That's why we have that priority system. If we got a
It's
three-car
like-
accident, we're going to that first.
Right.
I think we need to load it up to our police department administrative
Right.
staff to
Yep.
figure out what we need to do to make this happen, because it's
I
a
do
big
too.
hole.
Well,
It is.
and they do have priority. I mean, if they're out on calls, they surely can't come downtown and start marking tires.
But it is worth looking into a part-timer for the winter to make sure that we have
We
we
have
could use,
two part-timers.
No, we're talking about somebody to come in and mark tires.
that those two part-timers are patrol officers.
A chalker,
And we're utilizing those patrol officers doing patrol.
which we need to do patrol.
Right.
We need to get somebody, a part-time.
They're not doing enough
retiree,
patrol. If they were doing enough
come in here
patrol,
and do some chalking.
having what happened the other day on 307 Main Street and the corner of Prospect Street wouldn't happen if we had enough patrol. Well, we don't have enough patrol.
And we can't utilize somebody we don't have.
I'm not up for more staff. Somehow we have to make this happen, as far as I'm
We
concerned.
have
With our
part-timers.
existing staff.
Right. We have part-timers that we're only utilizing a bare minimum.
Then we need
could
to-
utilize them more.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, good.
Not adding a different person on.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were going to add, no, yeah.
Why don't
know
you see
where I
what you come
stand
up
on
with a
that.
formula and see what we can do with that, if we can all agree on it.
We can cut,
Good, please, and thank
no,
you.
no, we just,
Make it so,
Well,
beam me up.
beam me up. No, we'll just cut out Chris's clothing allowance in July. We can hire a brand-new guy.
We could just tell the court that he can't be down there 3 days out of the 5, and they'll all just have to wait.
Just kidding, just kidding. No, but that's,
We can just put a sign up at the border, stop committing crimes in Tilton. We haven't got enough staff to take care of you.
Oh, I'm sure that's going to stop them.
yep.
It'd be lively for a while, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
what else?
That'd be an understatement.
Or livelier.
Do you have anything for us? Do you, any needs or wants? Is that powerful, expensive toilet in yet?
That will be in by Monday.
Monday, really?
I haven't checked it today. He was in today.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's completely done, but that was on his project today, so.
Okay.
We're going to dump a bottle of Moët or Don Perignon in it for the first flush? Seems appropriate. Ought to be Christian, just right, or we could get some trade
Have an
generations.
open house tonight.
Open
a
house in the
bottle.
Tilton PD bathroom, yeah. Okay.
I have a question on your grant.
Yes.
Can I, this is okay to publicly ask you this question? Section 7, proposed solution.
You're going to ask anyways.
There it goes. It's great that you're going to be doing these with a cooperative effort with the rest of these departments.
Yes.
Says these will be conducted in the communities of Tilton, Northfield, Franklin, Samerton, and Belmont on Route 3, except Route 3 and 11, as it drives through Tilton, is only in the town of Tilton and not in these other communities, except for the very, very far eastern end where the border of Samerton kind of pops out into the middle of Route 3 for a very short section. So are you going to be over the bridge in Belmont conducting this?
Well, Belmont hosts one, we host one. Samerton usually hosts theirs in Belmont on Route 3, and Northfield usually hosts theirs in Tilton on Route 3. So,
So
They all
how,
work it.
so these monies don't go to all of our officers?
those monies go to all our officers. 'Cause what happens is when you're a host agency, you also provide 2 more people, one a OIC and one a safety officer.
Right.
And then you provide 2 for a station. Belmont provides 2 to us.
Right.
Northfield provides 2 to us. Samerton provides 2 to us. And now Franklin is going to be joining us.
It says 3 officers per checkpoint. Did I just hear 4?
Yes, you did. But that's only when you host it.
So we're covered, dollar-wise?
Because we usually.
So we will actually have, so this is more of a mutual aid type thing. I mean, you're basically, we're going to have some officers in Belmont?
When Belmont hosts theirs or when Samerton hosts theirs.
Because when we host ours, they come
So
down.
they are all applying for the grant too?
Yes.
If one doesn't get it, what happens?
Then they're out.
And
But,
they simply are not hosts?
this money has been set aside for us, so.
Chances not getting it real
Okay.
slim.
Unlike the state.
Thank you. Yeah, you know? I'm like, which one do I cross? Yellow? We have never had one before?
Yes, we have. I've been stopped in it.
You questioned me about it last year.
I know, but here it is again. We've never had one. It says in there we've never had one. A DWI checkpoint.
We've had
Yes, we have.
4
What does it
now.
say we haven't?
I've been stopped in it.
4th year.
I know, but it says in there we've never had one before.
We've had one. We've
Yes,
had many.
Yes, we have. Set up right down here, right in front of AutoServe.
Have a whole bunch of them.
No, I just need one. Thanks.
I think some of this, I'm just assuming you know what you're saying about, but it says it in here.
Do you see that
Remember last year
uniform?
getting the report from the chief on how many people got pulled over and how successful they were?
He wasn't at the last one, but got a lot of positive feedback.
That says, trust me.
Well, that's what I'm doing most of the time, but you don't have to have a conversation. The bottom part.
We can cross that out.
You know what the bottom line is?
That's a
The bottom line is they're gonna get the money, they're gonna be able to do it, we don't have to pay for it. That's the bottom line.
Yep.
That better.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm like, what?
It was basically, it was done once, then it was copy and paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Change the dates, change the
But
names,
you love those computer
So we
things.
weren't supposed to read it, huh?
Yeah.
go with it.
Thank you.
Trust the bling.
Yeah. As far as wants and needs, we can talk about that some other time.
That's what I don't know. When we
What?
first started out, he was opening his pocket, I was going to duck.
The chief
Wants and needs?
wants to wait.
I asked him before if he had.
I asked him if he wants and needs, now's the time to bring it up.
The chief and I are looking at getting some software to help run the agency a little better. It's a system that will help officers keep on top of their work, and it's kind of like an early warning system, but it also documents all the positive, like the letters that you get in that say, oh, this officer was great to me and he helped me unlock my car, and it'll document the bad as well if it comes to that. And,
Software is pretty pricey.
Huh?
Software is typically very
it's-
pricey.
Usually,
I mean,
based
and then you
on-
pay for it every year.
right.
You don't buy it once.
Right. And right now, it's based on per personnel you have. So each person costs so much dollars. We can get a really good deal the first year, and then the second year, it would go up. It would double. But, I mean, if you budget for it,
I think anything that's gonna make your department run better and help you out is worth spending the money.
Is it going to patrol our parking lot and our compact areas of town?
You guys are a tough crowd.
it will not.
Well, the doubling just made me go,
Well, the doubling would be less than $1,000. So,
you're going to prepare a presentation for us?
yes.
I look forward to it.
These people are rough,
Tough crowd.
very tough. I can't go
Budget
in-
is tough.
I can't go into why, but we'll keep it at that.
I will in particular want to know what we are not paying for by buying this, because it sounds like this was not pre-planned.
No.
Well, several other agencies use it in the area, and it helps them be more efficient.
And more efficient means you're gonna be out on patrol more.
It means we won't be chasing people down for work. Hey, this report isn't done, or this is, you're running late with this accident, you need to get it done, so you call him in off the roads, and now he's not out there patrolling the parking
So
spaces.
efficiency means the men will be out there patrolling more.
It should be.
Okay. That's what it sounds like to me.
That wasn't a
Yeah,
promise.
so it sounds like to me, too.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So we'll be bringing that to you, and
Forthwith. Okay. All right. Got all the lockers put together?
no.
Okay.
We're waiting on the floor to go in before we start assembling the lockers. The lockers are 200 pounds per box, so
That should be pretty easy for you guys. I mean, you don't have the gym down there anymore. Come on, you got to work out.
But the stairs were just painted, so we can't go on the stairs just yet.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right.
sure
So,
the
Monday, we
safety-
shall all be at the PD to test out this new expensive
I'll bring them away.
toilet.
You bring the what?
The champagne.
Bubbly.
All right.
So I think that's
The bling.
it for me.
I'm going to call it the bling.
The bling pot.
The bling pot. This is it. Bling pot. Anything else?
I think that's it for the moment.
I'd like to thank you guys for all you guys do for us.
Yes, thank you.
Outstanding job on carrying the flag as well.
Yeah.
That was a
Excellent
great job. You weren't there, but
I was.
Nobody fell.
That was the,
I couldn't believe the Zambonis came out just before you guys walked out. I'm like,
Right.
oh yeah, it was,
that had to have
the
been,
longer we stood there, the more slippery it got. It was,
the heat from your shoes.
yeah.
it was, for all of, that took place, has taken place, and what that represented, that was kind of an inspiring evening. Unfortunately, events of the past 2 weeks.
Have runners or something for you to stand on when you're out there.
Well, we thought they were going to, and then they said at the last minute, nope. So, okay.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
How is the policeman that was shot?
I guess he's doing well. From what we hear, it's going to be a long road for him.
It was so horrible.
Yeah.
But they got him, right?
Yes.
They have him.
Yeah.
And his accomplice. Too bad we couldn't tar and feather. I hear that was quite hideous.
Let's keep him in the southern part of the state.
Correct. All right.
He'll be Helen soon.
Yep.
I think
Well, what
you're
you
all
got?
set unless you've got something else for us
Not that I can think of.
that you'd like or not like. Or
Anytime you say that, he wants to spend money, Pat.
Oh, no.
See the salary line.
Have a good evening. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Ryan. Night, Chris.
Night, Chris.
Night, Chris.
Remember, try to
I will. Honest to God, I will. Forget. I will. I need a little sticky that's got to say shred on this.
I don't know what that is, but
Did we have any little
look at this.
stickums here?
Hang on, let me go over here. Are you going to do public appointments next, or are you ready for it?
No, unless you have little sticky notes. Do you?
Can you just,
Yep, that's good. I got one. I have got to
just so you can public's here.
make sure that this gets shredded.
Is this mine?
Do we have anything from the vast public? Would anybody like to say anything from the public tonight? Anything you have for us tonight? No? Okay. All right. I would like to just make one small motion before I lose this. I would like to make a motion to accept a donation to the Town of Tilton Senior Center in the amount of $100 from Hassan Sali and Barbara Sali.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. This came in today.
Chat.
This is for, yes, the Tilton Senior Center. Yep. It's one of our very first people that we helped in chat.
Wasn't it nice?
Yeah. Very nice lady.
They say
Okay.
you give and you will receive. What they say?
Okay, on your agenda, you have, later in the meeting, you're going to be doing board appointments. And if you could just put this in there, so this, I checked with Cindy to see if anybody had accepted write-in candidates for trustee of trust funds, and she said no, but when I looked up the statute, it's the selectmen that appoint the individual to serve until the next election,
Is
Has
there,
anybody volunteered?
not to my knowledge. You want to just slide that in there, or do you want to talk about board appointments now? It's up to you.
however we want to do it, doesn't matter to me.
Also got, I had sent to Chuck Mitchell the a copy of John Scanlon's, because they had appointed him to a 3-year term, and he had already was filling a 2-year term, and it was Paul Rushlow that needed to be
Right.
appointed. So he'd sent an email, but I haven't really even had a chance to read.
So he would like,
Giving his, what they want for appointments.
Aren't the Conservation Commission members, aren't those all 3-year terms staggered when they started out?
That is correct.
And I know they get, when
stipend.
people leave and come, but that board is pretty well intact with members. So how could John Scanlon's end up being a 2-year term?
He has 2 years to complete, I'm sorry.
Oh, he has
Happens
2
is-
years left out of his 3-year term.
When Cindy
Okay.
does this thing,
Okay.
when she sends us to say what
I get
positions
it.
are vacant, she deletes the 2011 line.
I get it, yes.
So he was
It's
still
the
showing that he was
It's the
still...
confusion.
Yeah,
Right.
I get it. It was the way you said it. I was like,
yeah, I'm sorry.
no, thank you.
Too much
I
chocolate.
understand.
right, so,
So he sent an email late this afternoon saying clearly Paul Rushlow needs to be reappointed as a full-time member. And then in the email that we gave you, the minutes that we gave you last week, Kathy Mitchell needs to be reappointed as alternate. Jim Cropsey needs to be reappointed as an alternate.
full member.
No,
No, he was an alternate.
Jim Cropsey needs to be,
Says full member.
this says
He was an alternate.
he was an alternate.
Somebody's got to get it straight. It says full member next to it.
What is Chuck Mitchell's?
That's,
Yeah, this is Jim Cropsey needs to be reappointed currently as an alternate, all of which is in order. There was a mistake about reappointing John Scanlon. I thought we had this all taken care of before town meeting. At our April meeting, we can formally accept the stepping down of Suki Clark from a full member to the position of alternate and the appointment of Jim Cropsey as a full-time member.
But
there.
not until April.
Not until April.
Right.
So he's going to go to a full member.
Okay.
Okay.
And these were his questions. Does this need to be approved by the selectmen? If he were to succeed her in position, meaning Jim Cropsey, would his term as a full-time member then expire in 2013, which would be when Suki's term would expire, or would Jim's term run from 2012 to 2015, which would reflect that he would have been reappointed this year for 3 years? It's whatever they want the terms to be, as long as they're staggered.
Right, as long as they're staggered.
Well,
When you
no, it's not
It's-
necessarily. I don't know what the statutory requirements are of the Conservation Commission, but sometimes those are set by RSA, the terms. So they
Paul,
couldn't make somebody a 2-year term if they're supposed to be 3 years.
right,
Right.
I know ideally they should all be staggered, but sometimes, like what's happening now, Jim Cropsey would finish out Suki Clark's term.
Right.
So
The
that
easiest,
it would always be a 3-year term, and that's the mistake that's been made in the past.
Right.
That when people are appointed into other people's positions, they're completing that position, and then it becomes,
right, if they want to move
Reappointed.
Jim to the full-time member, and Suki's term is expiring, you should appoint Jim to fulfill Suki's full time.
That's right.
Okay.
He would move into whatever is left over of hers, and then it would start again.
And then if she wanted to come to be an alternate, then she could fill in his term. It says, when you ask for approved minutes, we would not have approved minutes for March until April, would not have April minutes approved until May. Do you need them? Because what I
A
had...
letter from them would be,
We just need to get this
And
we're
done.
getting, right, we don't have the approved minutes for the planning board, we have a note from the
Yeah,
chair.
it's getting ridiculous. We'll have to put our policy, our procedure in place so that next year they understand they've got to get this done before, and so, for example, when they meet once a month, they'd have to do it in
Right.
January or February to get them appointed properly.
When I had mentioned that if he wanted to send a letter from the commission, if you need a letter signed by the commission, how many signatures do you need? The whole commission, present as appointed, or with or without those terms expiring in 2012?
Majority is an official document. To answer his other question, the selectmen should probably, when they reappoint or do any of that, it should come before the board, just so that we're certain that that we have the information and that these people are listed so that, and registered with the clerk, and have the indemnification that they need.
So do we have parks commissions now?
No. So can we keep this in the folder? And then
So-
so right now, Jim will be appointed, will stay reappointed as an alternate. And then in April, at their April meeting, then they can do the swap. Unless you want to do that now.
The Park Commission will meet next week. I'll email Bob to make certain that he doesn't forget to do that.
Does it make a difference if we do it now?
Yeah, because they're still serving a term as an alternate, and there's not a place for him to be alternate. You can make the motion that in April, at such time when the other one steps down to be an alternate, that he will step up as a full member. You could do that. That wouldn't be...
It should wait until it takes place, because
Well, that's what I
that
said.
full member needs to officially step down.
What happens if that full member doesn't step down? Oh, I've had second thoughts, I really don't want to step down.
Exactly.
And-
Well, but see, that leaves you with, see, right now, Jim's an alternate whose term expired March of 2012.
So
he's-
we're going to wait.
Well,
So he
They-
needs to
they-
be reappointed as an alternate.
if
That's
they're
what I'm
not,
saying.
And
right.
then the next step would be,
right,
when the full member steps down, now that alternate
him up.
becomes.
right,
That's the proper procedure.
yep.
And then, I don't know, I guess I would suggest if the write-in candidate refused it, perhaps if the board can think of somebody that you could approach for trustee of trust fund.
Trustee of the trust funds. Was there a write-in candidate?
There was, and Cindy said that they declined.
Okay. Okay.
But do you want to go through where we are right now on the list? And in the folder, you still have all the forms that we have received. I just haven't done anything with them, waiting for,
Well, on the Conservation Commission, we can make a motion to appoint, under the recommendation of the Conservation Commission, Paul Rushlow for a 3-year term as a full member, and Ben Wadley as a full member.
what is the page number for Conservation Commission?
4.
You're doing that as a form of motion?
All right, so Paul Rushlow, a 3-year term, and Ben Wadley for a 3-year.
3-year term, and then the same motion continue a 3-year term for alternate 1, Kathy Mitchell, and alternate 2, Jim Cropsey.
Correct.
That's
I'll
my
second the
motion.
motion.
So motion's been made and seconded to full member Ben Wadley and Paul Rushlow for a 3-year term on the Conservation Commission, and 3-year terms for alternate Kathy Mitchell and Jim Cropsey. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In your folder there, we have the one for Ben and Kathy, so I would just need to make them for Jim and Paul. All right, so that's Conservation. Budget Committee, we're all set. We notified Cindy of who the ex officios were, which is Catherine Dawson and Pat is the alternate.
What is that?
Budget Committee,
Yep.
and you have a new member, Eric Pyra.
Yep.
Everybody else is the same. I'm assuming because Cindy swore in the elected officials, she took care of those forms. You didn't do anything, because I haven't seen any forms on them, but I'll double check with Cindy.
I swore in 2 elected officials, but I gave them to Cindy right there.
Okay. And who was that? Oh. All right, I'll just double check. I mean, she's got Tony's name down here, so I'm just assuming that she has those, that you didn't get them. So trustee trust funds is vacant, and by statute, the board appoints that, and that would be for a 3-year term. Actually, it'd be for 1 year for next year, and then it would be for the 2 years remaining.
For who?
Because it's a 3-year term, but you can only appoint somebody for until the next election.
Right.
So you're appointing someone for 1 year, and then come March of 2012, it would be for a 2-year term.
Because it would
So you
be-
can stay staggered.
Right.
Your supervisors, the checklist are all set. Your new one is Judy Tilton. Library trustees, so zoning board. We have,
Zoning board is coming in on the 3rd, a special meeting to meet just to get signatures in the, in a written form for the board. So that will be taken care of on the 3rd.
okay, because the only thing Cindy is showing is member 5, who has 2 years remaining, and then 1 alternate whose term would expire, did expire in 2013.
Well, I don't know what happened to the paperwork, but I know that...
You have member 2 and member 3.
Yeah.
What's
Are
member-
vacant.
Are vacant. So there's 2 vacancies.
2 vacancies, and then 2
Well,
people
they'll be
that...
filled. They've got a full board. I mean, they're going to be writing a letter for approval of the full board. Art is going to be a full member. Kathy Yo is joining the board as a full member. Marina agreed to a new full member term. Joe, and of course Bob Brown. They just won't have an alternate. But that's what they're coming in on the 3rd to sign that letter.
They won't have an alternate?
No,
We should ask Norm if he would be an alternate.
I did. He said no. He's going to be on the planning board.
Right, but as an alternate, he might be interested.
Well, when I asked him about it, he said he didn't want to get on too many things because he doesn't know. But I can ask him again.
Okay, so parks right now, we have Bob Hardy, Billy Lawrence, Peter Fogg, the Marina, and Vicky are the 2, member 2 and member 3 need appointments. And we're showing Selectman Dawson as ex officio, and Al LaPlante as the alternate.
What was that?
Parks Commission,
There's 2.
You will give us a list of our ex officio memberships and our alternates. And our liaison positions, would you please?
Yeah, so you want that separate from this? Yeah, we did that last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
In recycling, there's one member vacant, but then there's an alternate. We don't know if that alternate would take the full membership.
Right. If the alternate, I have a note, would like to go to a full membership, and then there's a gentleman by the name of Michael Foy who would like to fill the other vacancy.
The alternate.
Well, the other vacancy, because we have actually two vacancies.
How do you figure that we have two vacancies? Member one is going to re-up again, right?
No, Marge isn't running again.
She's not.
Oh, that's a huge loss.
Wow. Okay.
All of your chat appointments are in there.
Did we already motion them?
Did the board sign them? They should all be in there. All clipped together. That's Concom.
Did we sign them? I can't remember.
I think we've signed some of them, but I don't think we signed all of them.
Last week.
So I can go ahead and give those to Cindy. So
Some of them I swore in already, but some of them Cindy said she would swear in.
And they've signed it.
Yeah, it looks like they need to sign most of them.
There's some that are signed.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
The ones I swore in signed it in front of me.
So right now, then, you will have 20 member positions filled, and if there's 23, that leaves 3 vacancies. Is that what you're showing? And then the TAC meeting.
I suspect with the senior center opening that we'll have more that we'll want to. I don't think there's a limit on the amount we can have on this committee, do you?
Normally, you create a committee, the selectmen would create a committee and set a membership, but in your instance, it's a little different.
Right.
Because
They're
your
all
members are,
Helping the public.
yeah, they're
right.
they're transporting their,
All right.
Just a reminder, so Sandy and Jane's here.
but stay back on that topic, you may want to create a board of governors, so to speak, so that these people, you have this one group that, your executive board that makes decisions. Because if you have 30 members, I mean, how do you, you know? So you may want to have an executive committee.
Say 5.
Have an executive committee off of that, and then we're the ones that make the decisions to what goes on with the committee, what goes on with the senior center. Oh, much more important. Exactly. As soon as we open.
Well, you could have more than 5 and have selectmen's ex officio. Because right now, you're just serving as a life member.
Right. Right. Serving a life member of the committee. Co-founder.
You can't have 2 selectmen, well, how does that work? You can't have 2 ex officios, and the ex officios are member because they are selectmen from their positions. How would that work? If you're
As long
already
as
a
I'm
member?
selectman, I can be ex officio. When I'm not selectman any longer, then
Then you're just a life member?
I'm
and then
just a
so
life member,
You
right.
just have an alternate?
Right.
Good, okay.
So do you want to do that? Change the form? Or do you want to wait until you have your committee meeting?
I think
Well,
that
I
they
think
need
we
to
would
create
the
They
committee.
need to come back to us and say,
We will,
You said what?
what do we don't want an ex officio? It doesn't matter, we can just let him say.
Take no for an answer.
I think with
He
this...
gets it anyway.
No, I think it would be important for a committee that has the responsibility that this committee has, that we need an ex officio
Just
select.
like every other board.
Right.
Right.
well, the selectmen would have to approve their committee anyway.
Right.
This is a town function, so, I mean, even though we give them lots of leeway for some strange reason. But, yeah. But I'd let them go out and create what's going to function for them.
Okay,
Then
and
we'll
then just
look
come
at it.
back to the board.
Okay.
We'll create the executive committee, and then from there, you can appoint,
Design.
design
You have to
a,
design it.
we'll paint a picture.
And you said we have a letter from the chairman of the department?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
I have a letter. Please consider the appointment of Norman Boudreau and Judy Tilton to the planning board as full members. We have discussed this, and all the board members are in favor. Please consider moving Elaine Grace from alternate to full member and reappoint Bob Haberman as an alternate member per his request. The board's decision not to reappoint member number 5 to the planning board is due to his 4-month absence each year was made it difficult to the board to have a quorum in order to conduct business. Thank you in advance for considering these appointments. Sincerely, Jane Alden, Chairman.
Norm and Judy's is in there. If you want to go ahead and sign those. And the others I can make up, and then tomorrow you can sign them. Once you make your motion to.
You read that as a motion?
What does the law say
No,
about
I'm not reading it as a motion.
members of the planning board, even if a term expired?
I really have a lot of difficulty in these appointments with planning and zoning.
Is it something you want to look into, we'll get back to at a later date?
Why?
I just,
Well, if you have reservations on them, maybe you should look into them, we'll look at them at another date.
I have reservations about how and why they came about to be appointments, and I don't particularly care for it, but
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't.
Well, you want to let us know what you're talking about? I mean, can it be talked about in public?
There have been members that have been on the queue for planning board, waiting to get onto the planning board for a number of months now. And we have one that's been back in September, waiting to get onto the planning board. And then all of a sudden, we have somebody that is no longer a selectman in Bing. Everybody said, okay, he can go on the planning board.
But the other one is on the planning board, too.
First, he wanted the zoning board, and was told he couldn't go on the zoning board,
But that was...
because somebody else had an appointment for the zoning board. Now he's going on to the planning board, and nobody's looking into the alternate moving up, or this person moving in. So now, after the meeting the other night, the alternate said they wanted to move up to a regular member,
And they did.
and they did. And this person that's been waiting since September got on the board, which they did, and the person in the selectman's position got on only because a member of the planning board was nice enough to step down as an alternate
Yeah.
to avoid an argument
No, I don't think it was...
or an unpleasant scene. So he took second place so that this person could come in on full to fill the whims and wishes of everybody that wanted people on a committee.
Well, I'm sorry you're looking at it that way, but I didn't look at it that way at all. The person who was gracious and said he would be an alternate also made the statement that he has several surgeries coming up, and he's going to be in and out, so he wouldn't be attending. He's going to miss meetings. So he was giving up his spot because we had enough to fill up all the full-time spots. But he would still have the same responsibilities. The only thing that would be different would be as if there were a quorum present, he just wouldn't be able to vote. But he could certainly ask questions, he could be every bit as much a part of the meeting. He just would not vote, unless there wasn't a quorum present, or a full board. I'm sorry, I should have said full board. So, I mean, nobody pushed him to do this. He did it on his own. And if you ask Jane, this past year, this particular individual was out quite a bit. Not, because he just wasn't coming, he had legitimate problems. And we were not, holding that against him at all, but he was willing the other night to step down to be an alternate, knowing that we had people that would fill up the board. Now, I'm not sure what you think that was so wrong about what was done, but I'm having an issue with this. Now, if Jane felt that way, then we need to talk about it, because I didn't see it, that it was an issue.
I would have loved to have seen it too, but the tape got conveniently shut
Well,
off.
it's unfortunate that it didn't get turned back on quicker than it did. That was not done intentionally, except for one little part where we were discussing an individual.
It was probably inappropriate to go straight into a non-public session to discuss appointments in the first place.
But I'm having a whole issue with this whole thing. Because it's like innuendos are being made here that aren't there. If you would prefer, you are welcome to be the liaison to that board.
I don't prefer it.
And
I
I
don't know
will step
anything
down.
about planning board.
I'm not going to sit around and have innuendos flying around about something that just isn't there. Because it's not. And if it bothers you that much, I'll resign. And you can have the board. It's up to you.
I don't want the planning board.
Jane, do you have an issue with what happened the other night?
I don't understand, I don't understand one thing. We turned the tape off because we were talking about an individual,
Right,
and it wasn't in the best interest to do that in public.
right.
I was not aware of the fact that we weren't supposed to do that.
Well, I would say the biggest mistake we made is we should have gone in, read the RSA 91 and gone into an official non-public. That was our mistake.
You see, because you didn't, it doesn't matter if you turn the tape off or not. Because you didn't,
Right.
that conversation is public. Do you understand that? Your minutes now have to reflect that conversation, because that was not a non-public session.
Right.
The official record of your meeting are the minutes, not the tape. So because it didn't take place, it is a redundancy now. That conversation is a public conversation.
And it will be in there.
And typically, when you do appointments, you don't go straight into a non-public. You would caution your members to try not to discuss this, in a negative way, unless it's not attending meetings or something that particularly pertains to planning board. If you have ethical questions or ethical comments, you need to caution them that we would have to go into a non-public session if you felt it necessary to bring that up. But it shouldn't be necessary, because that's not criteria for planning board membership or dismissal. Attendance and ethics at the meeting, which is public because they took place in a public meeting, would therefore not be a non-public topic because they took place in a public meeting. You see what I'm saying? That's why it seems very inappropriate that the tape was turned off.
How do you deal with the situation where you have a member who has a reappointment and the board is recommending to the selectmen that he not be reappointed?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
I mean, is there language in the RSA that we can duly satisfy our actions?
I think, but I'm not certain, because we're talking about someone whose term has expired.
Right.
Okay? So therefore, I would suspect he would not be considered a member of the board until it is a reappointment. So would not have to go through that formal process that you go through when you're dismissing a member.
Correct.
Right,
That's
Miss-
my
yeah.
suspicion.
Now, right here in this magazine, it says, well then, if we want to get rid of somebody, I assume there's no risk if we simply wait for the term to expire and then reappoint someone else. The answer: in general, that is the safest way to proceed. However, it can be more complicated. And then it lists a case. And it says, indicated that it can be a violation of an appointed official's First Amendment right to speak out on matters of public concern if a decision not to reappoint the official is based on the official's public opposition to or criticism of municipal policies. That was not the issue.
That's not the issue.
So, I
So
did
it
not
sounds
see-
like,
It seemed to me like it was perfectly all right. His term was up, and the board elected not to reappoint him.
And the issue was attendance.
Yes. Out of everybody we have on the board, he goes for several months at a time, and even when he's in town, oh, well, I had something else I had to take care of, and he doesn't show up.
yeah, and that's a serious issue, because now you're disenfranchising the public.
Right.
You know, those people who have, actually paid monies to be heard.
Right, and we had to postpone the meeting because we didn't have a quorum.
Okay.
And when I looked into it, what I read is that if there were call-ins saying I won't be there, it's one thing, but most of the time when the no-shows get placed, there were no calls saying I'm not going to be there.
Right.
So the bottom line was that's why it was decided not to reappoint him.
To recommend that he not be reappointed by the
Right.
board. You're still the final appointing authority.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think in lieu of what Sandy just read, we're probably safe if we choose to go that route.
But you're saying in your letter the board's decision not to reappoint.
Well, it's-
Should have said the board's recommend not to recommend
Right.
reappointment.
Right.
Here we go.
Okay.
Well, two of the forms are in there. The others I would have to create.
For,
Moving Elaine into Bob's, Bob into Elaine, and
Well, we'll have to do forms for the other.
I have Norm and Judy's.
Right.
Okay. Oh, this is the,
So it'd be member 1 and member 4.
what, so we have,
So it'd be member 1 and member 4.
The red is my writing on who held the position before.
Right. We need to appoint them to the planning board for a 3-year term as full members. And then when you meet again, which is when?
What was Norm's reason to go on the zoning board? Anybody know?
It wasn't his reason. They had already asked Kathy Yo.
there was some confusion involved there, and being the gentleman that he is, he just stepped out of it.
When Norm announced at the selectmen's meeting that he was going to join the zoning board, when I got home, I told Joe that Norm wanted to join the zoning board once his term as selectman was up. And Joe said, I've already asked Kathy Yo to be on the board, but if she doesn't want to be on, or she declines, I would love to have Norm sitting on the board with me.
But that was not the chairman's decision.
Well, it would be.
No, it was not. It was the zoning board of adjustments' decision to present candidates,
Yeah.
present appointments to the zoning
But they
board,
had
to the
already-
selectmen for decision on who would be the members. It was not the zoning board of adjustments' decision to eliminate possible candidates, because the selectmen could look at a list of candidates. If you had 5 people who wanted to be on the zoning board, why would not the selectmen look at that 5 list of people, no names, and pick people who are most experienced first?
Qualified.
And then take those others and appoint them as alternates. Why would you want the most less experienced people on your something as a zoning board?
Well,
That's a
and-
very important position.
When they had talked about the individual for the zoning board, at that point, Norm had not said anything, and the board had talked about it, and Kathy's name was suggested
Listen.
by one of the board members.
Now I'm going to get into it, because that's not true. That is not true. That statement that you made is not true.
What do you mean?
Norm had, well, I'm not going to go there, because now we're getting into personalities, but I'm going to just be on record that that's not true. The point is, the major point here is, no member of the zoning board of adjustment should have made the decision to eliminate any candidate to the board.
So what you're saying is the chairman should have interviewed possible candidates and then gone with the board and gotten approval from the board recommending it to the
We are the
selectmen.
appointing authority.
Yeah, that's right.
So essentially, what you're telling us is that a member of the zoning board eliminated possible candidates.
He was only thinking that he wanted to fill the board up, and that's what he's been working hard to do.
Nevertheless, he
And-
eliminated possible candidates. That was inappropriate. And, you know, that's not the first time an inappropriate action has been taken by the zoning board of adjustment members. So when they eliminated an alternate and made an alternate a full member, they did not have the authority to do that.
No, I'm not saying. I don't agree with it.
You what?
I'm not saying I don't agree with it. I don't agree you should be on the planning board.
What about the other one?
She's been in the hopper for months.
I think he'd best suited to be on zoning, so I'm not going to agree with that. That's just my opinion.
I think it best suits the town of Tilton if we agree. We have people that are willing to serve on our committees. It's very difficult to get people to serve. And, we have committees now, trustee of the trust funds, they have nothing, and nobody serving on them. Now we have people that are wanting to serve on them. We should at least consider them to serve on them. If they're not effective, then that's a different thing, and we can deal with that as time goes by, and hopefully the chairmen of the boards that they're on will say something. But I think now's not the time.
We have to have functional boards. And unfortunately, we did not have a procedure in place for the boards to understand what their authority and responsibilities were. So I don't think we can continue to have non-functional boards, because again, we're disenfranchising the public.
Because
So-
now we're taking it away from them.
Yeah, even though I don't
We can't do
completely
that.
agree with everything that's transpiring, we've got to move forward.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Judy Tilton and Norm Boudreau to full members of the Tilton Planning Board, term ending in 2014. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Go on record, Judy Tilton, yes. Norm Boudreau, no. I think he'd be better served on the zoning board.
For the record, Joyce, this form does not have Alaplant's name on it.
Oh, it's an old form.
Yeah, the one for Norm or the one for Judy?
Judy.
Yeah, that's an old form. What I would suggest, because she's already signed this,
White it out.
I can white it out underneath.
And you have to eliminate norms.
But, yeah, you're going to be signing this one, so I will white that out. Write your name on that one. Yeah, we have to make sure we pull all those old forms.
That's Holmes.
What about the moving of Elaine Grace to full member and Bob Haberman to alternate? Are you going to take action on that now or wait?
I thought you said.
Well, if we are not moving, this makes it interesting. For me personally, if we are not moving the alternate into a full-time position first, then I'm going to have to eliminate one of these because she has been there, waiting to be a full member.
Right, but you have the other full member who's willing to become an alternate.
Yeah. Because
Regardless of that. Regardless of that.
Because of this
yeah.
motion, you just-
Depending on how others feel. I mean, I've heard a lot of things talked about that, but
That's why it came to you by this week.
you see what I'm saying? So if the vote goes negative against it, then I'm going to tear up one of those others.
Let's see this.
Do we have enough information to safely say that we've satisfied our own knowledge on not reappointment?
I'm sorry.
Do you feel that we have enough information that we are going about not reappointing in the right direction?
For the Planning Commission?
Yes.
Quite frankly, from what we've been told by the ex officio and the chairman, that I would feel comfortable making Mr. Haberman an alternate for now, and appointing their alternate into that full-time position that would be vacant at that point.
And then not doing anything about the not reappointment. We still have one not to reappoint.
Right, but I think they've made a case if, from what they're saying, that full-time member whose term has expired is making it difficult for them to have a quorum, is, absent for
Right.
a lot of the year.
I'm not
And-
questioning the reason, I'm questioning the procedure. I'm
I think
not questioning the reason.
Yeah, I think the
I know what the
procedure is
reason
fine,
is.
because it's going to be part of their minutes, that discussion, so, no, I don't have a problem with that. I personally do not.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we appoint alternate one to a full member, replacing member 4, making member 4 an alternate 1.
Second.
And we don't have to do anything on the other one because we've already filled the board, correct?
Correct.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded on the planning board. Is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So now you have a full planning board and one alternate.
Who is going to notice that member that they've not been reappointed?
I think that would be
She needs to
for-
write a letter.
Well, I think it should come from us.
It needs to come from the Board of Selectmen, we're the
Right,
appointing
because we're
authority.
the appointing ones.
Okay.
I just didn't know if, Joyce, would you, thank you.
All right. And then I'll have those new forms ready for your signature. I don't want to lose anything. Can you grab that one as well?
Did you,
I will. I've got tape that I can.
okay. And this is,
I think that's all we can do for now. Because I really don't have anything official from Joe for the recycling committee,
Right.
On the Park Commission.
Parks Commission.
is that the only two left, is the parks and the,
Yes.
I didn't sign all of the planning board.
There are only two.
we'd only have the, they have to get the 2 planning board,
They have to make forms.
they have to,
Oh,
Joyce has to
they didn't
make-
have those filled out.
Right.
Joyce didn't fill them out.
Okay, so we currently still have Mr. Haberman as a full-time member.
No,
Or did his-
you voted to change it, and I'll have those forms typed up, so
Yes.
tomorrow you can stop in and sign them.
His term expired this year as well.
Oh, did it? Okay.
And we just need to think of a third trustee of trust funds.
So instead of not appointing him to a full member, you're just appointing him to an alternate,
Right.
which makes even more sense then.
Because,
That was not explained to me.
he
that
wanted
his
to stay on
appointment
the
was
board.
up.
He wanted to stay on the board. And he agreed to a part-time, or
Right.
an alternate, because of the medical situation he's got ahead of him.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize his term was up. That makes even more perfect sense, okay. All right,
That's next on the list.
Okay, this is an easy one. Just a reminder that tomorrow, the Route 140 corridor study, of which it's Belmont, Tilton, and Northfield. Let's see Sandwichton in there. We'll be having a meeting in Belmont from 1 to 3, and so far I know that you won't be able to go, and I know that Catherine's going, and you're going. Okay, so we reserve the car.
I did the car thing.
Another couple of easy things. I had sent you some emails concerning the, there's going to be an operating committee meeting which is like the executive board of the Concord Regional Solid Waste Resource Recovery Cooperative, and Joe is out of town, so Dennis is your designated voting representative, and I confirmed with the co-op staff that they encourage members to attend the meeting, so I think it would be a good meeting to attend.
When is that?
It's April 5th at 1 o'clock at LGC.
Good. I don't have my calendar with me, so.
I mean, because the decisions that they make do impact each of the member communities. Whatever decisions the operating committee makes is what's presented to the full joint board. The joint board is the one that makes the ultimate decisions. So it'll be interesting to be in at the ground level as to what direction they're going to be heading, so that we're better prepared when it comes time to make the final vote. And I'm sure Joe will be back by then. Okay, Joanna and I and Catherine Dawson were working on a letter to be mailed to the individuals in the betterment projects, because we've been receiving phone calls, and I believe in your FYI file there's a letter from a resident, and so we've drafted I know that, there needs to be discussion. I know Sandy's had some comments. I've received some written comments from Cindy. I think the sooner we can get this letter out, it'll just make it easier on the staff and on the residents that are impacted by this.
I didn't see anything in the FYI about a letter from a resident.
We have a letter from a resident?
Joyce, did you just say a letter from the resident on the sewer betterment?
Oh, no, Catherine has it. It has personal information in it, very personal.
Okay.
And that's not a confidential file.
Okay, I'd like to read it, yes.
I don't think it's going to be the last.
Now, when I went downstairs before and checked my email, Cindy had sent us like a final draft of the letter, which is a little different than the one you just gave us.
Right, this is her changes, are primarily having to do with the taxes. And I just have one copy of this.
I've got two. This is hers?
That's Cindy's. What I had worked with Joanne is what she had given me. I put it in a format on letterhead with the signature block, and also the only thing I had added was specifying that the 2012 sewer betterments.
Okay. Which letter? This one here is what Johanna wrote.
Yes.
Okay, because, so this in the bottom comes from the tax collector?
That is correct.
Because this statement, no betterments will be granted on your past due unpaid balance, unfortunately, the only people that can make the decision are the sewer commissioners. And so we shouldn't be putting anything like that in here.
No, I agree.
So, however, this is only billing going forward. If you previously received a betterment bill, it is still due. No abatements will be granted on any past due unpaid betterments.
Don't they have to do an
Why do we
individual
putting
basis
that
when they
in?
do that?
That's what I just said, we shouldn't be putting that in there because
No.
only the sewer commissioners can make that decision by RSA.
And that's an individual basis?
They need to come before, make a application to the sewer commissioners,
what you
that's
said
their
earlier.
process.
Is that what you said earlier?
That's probably
When you
why
read it.
Johanna didn't put it in here.
Brought up, yeah.
So basically,
No,
you should table that thing until it's finished.
No, we need your input. This is just a draft.
This is just a draft
Yeah,
to
the no
correct it.
abatements will be granted was Joanna's.
That was Johanna's.
Yeah, what did Cindy,
I thought this was Cindy's.
This
me
is
see.
Cindy's here.
let me see.
This is
Whose is
Johanna's.
that?
This is Johanna's.
I thought this was Johanna's.
Yeah, this is
Cindy's.
Johanna's, and this is Cindy's.
So Cindy's is the no betterments.
Yeah, but it was, no abatements will be granted, as was on both.
Oh, I see it down here.
Yeah.
We should not be putting that in there. Somebody with a hardship, somebody with, you
I don't know
know,
whether the commissioners will grant them
yeah, that's being very presumptive.
Because we can't
That's-
rule on what they're
The
going to
law
do.
allows them that petition, that hearing.
Right.
And then there was discussion about future sewer betterments.
Yeah, well,
That,
I had the problem because I thought when we met, when we first discussed this, that was in the original warrant that was going to go, petition warrant, and then it was taken out, and, so it wasn't on the warrant that got voted on, and now we're saying, and future.
but that's been removed from this. I don't see that in this draft.
Well, right here it says, essentially, this article means that...
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that needs to be
Sewer
removed,
betterments and future sewer
because
betterments.
that's still up to the sewer commissioners to
Right.
determine.
And it wasn't what was voted on, so that was the issue I had, one of them.
Well, reading that, then the person would think, oh, it's just our 2012 sewer betterments, not so it would be of the existing sewer
The
betterments.
existing, right, that would be a much better way to put it, that's what they voted on, were the existing ones. I just don't want someone to come back and say, hey, this is what we voted on, and now you're trying to tell us this.
I would quote the article. This article means that the sewer betterment fees for those projects that are currently assessed will be spread over the entire town.
So just reword that.
And I would
Make
put,
sure we leave out future.
I put rather than billed, not charged. Because we're talking about tax bills. Owners in the projects. In the project areas. In the sewer betterment areas. How can we put that? Sewer projects? I don't know.
I would say sewer projects, because it's not just, there's other sewer users, it's only the sewer projects. And we can list the names of the 4 projects if you want.
That might be better.
That way it's clear. It will be addressed to the payers of those, and we'll list the 4 project names. I don't know, is it necessary to keep in there were several different formulas to determine betterments used over the years? I don't think that matters, does it?
I think that whole next paragraph just doesn't pertain. You will no longer receive a betterment bill. However, this is only for billing going forward. That needs to be explained.
As of such and such a date.
2012.
If you previously received a betterment bill, it is still due, and this is where Cindy wanted to have the past due betterments also accrue interest. So past due betterment bills also accrue interest and may generate property tax liens.
But they should know that. They already know that, because most of them have liens on their properties.
Right, if you wish to check your assessment, and the other thing I like to do, she's saying to go to the website, but maybe I could actually plug in that link that takes you right to that page.
That's a good idea.
Because a lot of people will call and say, how do I get to my thing? And you can walk them through it. Okay, so add actual link. What we'll do is Joanne and I will clean this up and we'll circulate another draft. And then it still has to go to the sewer commissioners, so.
Well, what are we going to do about this? However, this is only for billing going forward. That's not
Just say
explicit enough.
starting with the 2012 tax bills.
Yeah, because it could change next year on the vote. On the people.
Well, then we want to say starting with the 2012 tax bills.
Because essentially, they could be right back paying the betterment fee again next year.
You can what?
They could be right back paying the betterment fee next year.
That would be unfortunate, but yes, it's possible.
All right, any other comments?
I don't think you'd get any more sewer projects passed in this town.
Absolutely not.
Okay, the next thing is the purchase and sale agreement that should be in your packets, and then I've since received some additional revisions from Scott. Now, I haven't heard back from Greg yet. He was supposed to get back to me today on, he wants to hold a open house on Saturday.
This Saturday?
I want to confirm. He said he was going
This
to...
Saturday?
Does he want the selectmen there?
Not necessarily. I mean, you can go, but
He won't have this one there.
it'd be best if you weren't.
Best if we weren't?
Right.
How interesting.
Well, it's just
Oh,
that
questions.
you would get engaged in conversations, and they
Conversation.
could say, oh, well, she told me at that
That's
day the
right.
thing.
I like it when they say best if you weren't.
I mean, there's nothing to prevent you from going
There's a lot of
down
places that are best if we weren't there.
We've had a
I
couple
know,
of those,
I know.
haven't we?
I have no interest in
Please
going.
do not attend.
I will be there.
The
You'll
last
all
week.
be there on the day of the auction, and you'll be working.
We've run into a few of those this week that was best if we weren't there.
But did we listen?
No.
Okay, I don't,
so just-
I can't find where he wants to make this change second. Is that the second paragraph?
Okay, let me
Or is that his
explain.
second change?
She's probably already done it.
Okay, no. This is the purchase and sale agreement, okay? What he is changing is the contingent agreement, okay? And these changes that are going in the contingent agreement need to go in your...
Purchase and sale agreement.
Sales.
Right, gotcha.
What raised the question is, when we had originally done this, he said, well, yes, go ahead and have a contingent purchase and sale agreement. And I said, well, geez, what do I use for dates, da-da-da-da-da. And he said, well, no, just use the same one. Just the buyer signs it, gives you your deposit, you don't sign it. But then, when I mentioned that, I said, I don't know. I said, we're kind of uncomfortable with that. So that's why he came back with some beefed-up language. So
Yep.
this that you're looking at, you can start by, how would be the best way to do this?
I would just go with what he recommends to change, and then change it, and then incorporate it in the purchase and sales.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Then we can look at it as one document.
But we're not going to look at it until next Thursday, and the sale is the following Saturday.
Well, he would like to have it as soon as possible. See, there are people now that are like, they want to see the purchase and sale, and also the quitclaim, which he said.
Can you do this tomorrow?
Yep. Yeah, it's just that it just came in at, like 4:30. Well, no, right before I left.
Okay, so if you can do this tomorrow, we'll be around tomorrow.
And then this is the quitclaim deed that he sent, if you want to look at this.
This is what Scott said?
He prepared that.
Municipal corporation duly in the state. He has state of New Hampshire. It's misspelled.
He misspelled state of New Hampshire?
11 and 12. I haven't even looked to make sure your name.
State is usually spelled S-T-A-T-E, it's S-A-T-E.
Okay. We'll point that out to him.
Oh, I can't wait to point it out to him. Why are we so quick to point out others' faults? I don't know. It's society.
Okay, so then this means that you can sign the contingent one.
Wait a minute, it says, "This conveyance is subject to any easements or other encumbrances as may heretofore recorded against the property." What does encumbrances mean? What kind of encumbrances would be?
Liens.
This conveyance is subject to any easements or other encumbrances as may have been heretofore recorded against the property, except for those placed by the town of Tilton, which are hereby released. So,
Bank liens.
bank liens.
Well, liens and encumbrance. Any type of debtor.
Well, he did update the registry search, and the only thing that's showing is that Bank of America for $250,000, and then it's also, and all the other mortgages that were on it have been discharged.
Yeah. He needs to...
That's interesting that that's hanging out there.
He needs to take Norm's name off of here and put Al's name on here. And correct state.
What else, Joyce?
No more non-publics. None.
Oh, you had questions about the interrogatories, and she's reading. Yes, title search, they researched 29 Beach. The original owner, it was the one that we had, the outstanding mortgage, Bank of America. Prior mortgages have all been discharged, and she lists the book and page numbers of those. So this will make it much easier when we file the bill of interpleader. Did you have an opportunity to review Tim's report?
No.
Yeah, I did read it.
He has the MS2 that needs to be signed in the, and also he and I have had a number of discussions about number 2 on the internal controls issues. So at some point,
Yeah, I too have a concern about that.
we don't have to talk about it now, but it is something that we've been keeping our eye out for and making notes when these issues come up.
It is, it's very sobering to read the possibility of what could
Have you
be.
signed one of these?
Not that it would necessarily happen, but you don't know that.
But it's also, it's really for any contract or agreement that anybody has, we have to, and it's really our responsibility to make sure that any vendor that we use, that they have filed their certificates of insurance. That's a requirement of our property insurance carrier as well as our workers' comp coverage. We're just going through our workers' comp audit now, and they pulled 3 vendors, because we have to send them our 1099 list, and they said, show us that they have workers' comp, because if they don't have workers' comp, you own them. They're your employee if something were to happen. So unless that vendor doesn't have any employees, they don't have to have workers' comp coverage. So I did have to scramble and get a certificate of insurance from a vendor that we've used for years. I'm like, I'm sure we have one, and it's like, we don't. So, I mean, I'm holding our feet to the fire for
They
this
want
as well,
us, our
not just boards.
vendors, to have workman's comp.
If they have employees,
That's a given these days.
Wow. Oh, it's a subcontractor.
You're an independent company.
Yeah.
I have to have working comp.
These are 1099 people.
anybody that you
That's what the police name is, a 1099 person.
Yeah, it's a 1099 person.
That's what a plumber is. all of it.
Attorneys, we said.
Exactly. It happens. It's always subcontractors, vendors, all this.
So I just want to make sure we're not just picking on boards and commissions. This is, we really need to pay attention ourselves, so. Okay, now, are you ready to do George Hast, the intent to cut?
Did I tell you that
That was a,
every minute past the time I want to be out of here, you're fired?
that was a
I'm just saying.
Save this for...
open-ended question. Are you ready to do?
Okay, well, this is what they produced.
Okay,
Okay. First of all,
Robert Bryce. Okay. George Haas.
they gave me 3 documents,
Yep.
and come to find out, when I spoke with the logger, there are no, and checked with Cindy, on these lots that are listed, there are no taxes due.
Right.
So our intent, in the past, when we've required intent to cut bonds, we always check to see if there are any taxes due. And if there were taxes due, we have required a bond. In this instance, there are no taxes due. So the question does the logger, he's a certified logger, in fact, they gave me a copy of his agreement, and I have spoken on the phone, he is a certified logger. I mean, he would lose his license if he didn't follow through with filling out the forms and filing the proper slips for the intent to cut. Would he still have to post the bond? When I had asked Lauren to look at what he had listed for proposed cut, she used the high end of the range. Now, you don't always use the high end of the range when it actually comes time to assess that penalty, the 10% penalty, because you have to look at, they can even produce their slips, their mill slips.
Did you look at these signatures?
Well, that's the next part. This is what they are submitting as their proof of power to sign. This is the power of attorney that Nathaniel Thayer gave to George Hast, and this is for the Sherryland properties. And this is the daughter's
There's no seal.
power of attorney for, there's no notary seal on it?
Worthless, isn't it?
No, there's a notary seal right there.
Where?
She said her commission expires 6/27.
She can
Where's her
sign it, she
seal?
does not have to sign, you don't have to have a
You
seal.
don't have to have a seal?
No, it's only sometimes.
And this,
So does
I
she
know
have a
that,
number?
I'm a notary. No, you don't,
this is
just the
Wendy's
signature.
power of attorney to sign.
How do we know if she's a notary?
You can look up at Secretary of State.
And this is the Secretary of State's annual report showing that George and Wendy's are officers of Sherryland Corporation.
However, we have Log Pro signing, and the seller is who knows what. And then it had 4 George Haas, but 4 was crossed out and George Haas signed. And then over here, it says,
And Wendy, because you need to compare the 2 intent to cuts.
today, 3/24, George Haas appeared before me in Franklin, New Hampshire. So he signed it.
Because he's saying, because he's an officer of Sherryland, that he was authorized as an officer of Sherryland to enter into an agreement with the logger, and the logger prepared the intent to cuts. Wendy signed them, and I said, well, I can't just use yours, Wendy's. I said, we have the power of attorney for George, but I have nothing for Wendy. And so that's why Wendy went and got hers, and then George said he didn't even need power of attorney
idea.
because
No
he's the
idea.
officer of the corporation, as is she.
No idea.
I don't know the signature.
We don't know those signatures. You can't even make out the signatures, so how do we know that it's them?
Well, on this one, you can just match it up with what was signed on the intent, because this was signed on 1/31. I think those were signed the same day, weren't they?
329.
Here is a George Haas signature.
Let me see. Does that look like that?
Yep,
And then here is,
yep. And since it's notarized, then it, therefore, theoretically, it must be.
Does that look like it?
This one is.
Well, being it's notarized, it's got to be a signature.
That's iffy.
Because you're standing in front of him when he did it.
It's pretty iffy.
It's close.
There's nothing close about that.
so what they're,
These signatures are notarized. My problem with this, even though this is notarized, I mean, typically you have a line just like this that says George Hast, the person signs above the line, because that's what they're, and then, see, this one, there's no name. I mean, you know what I
And
mean?
it says, it crossed out for and put by.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
well, the other,
Well, I don't want to, I want them to post a bond. We do have, even though he has come forward as a registered agent, that person has gone every legal means possible to avoid paying property tax in the town of Tilton.
He's done nothing to
These
make
have all
us think
been paid.
we don't need a bond.
Yeah.
well, the logger would be putting up the bond.
I don't care who puts up the bond, but I'm not the property owner.
Why would the logger be putting up the bond? Should be the property owner.
Oh, but that happens a lot.
Yeah, I don't care who makes the deal.
As long as the town is,
As long as we get our money, and we're assured of getting our money. And I don't think there's any problem of using the high end, the low end, the middle end. We've chosen to use the high end. When it comes down to what they've actually cut and what they've posted for a bond, they'll get back what the residual is.
What is the amount of the bond we're requesting?
Lauren is recommending for property 13-8, the bond amount would be $1,854.50. And for the other intent that has lots 7, 13, and 313, the bond amount would be $3,096. So for a total would be $4,951.
Okay.
The logger felt that that was the high end of the range and that he would never get the high end of the range.
But the point of it is once he's done and the town has been paid their part of the taxes and everything is completed, he gets the bond back.
Or the residual, or whatever.
Right. So it's not like we're going to keep it if he does everything he's supposed to do.
So go high end.
And typically, when you post a bond, you're not actually pulling cash out of your money. You have a bonding company that posts it
Right.
for you.
For that small amount? I know the
used to.
others, that they gave us cash.
Well,
No
so be it.
cash.
But we used to bond
So
jobs
we
all the
can
time.
make a motion to accept this contingent on a bond being posted in the amount of
$4,951. You can round it off.
$4,951.
I'll second that.
Is that all right?
I was going to say 4,900, but I like zeros.
So a motion's been made and seconded to accept these intent to cut contingent upon posting a bond for $4,951. When that's done, then they can get their intent to cut. Any more discussion?
Should we sign it now or when they
Oh,
get the
no,
bond?
no, you would sign it now, because they don't start cutting until
The
that comes
bond
back
is...
from the state and we get the bond. But this way, they meet the April 1st deadline, so they don't have to file all new forms.
All right.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All right.
I don't think my pen will go through that. Is that a ballpoint? Can I borrow it? Mine's not a ballpoint. Thank you.
And while you're signing that, just to get back to you about, I contacted Glenn to see about you meeting with the Northfield Selectmen. He said they're meeting every other week. They wouldn't be meeting until April 6th, but he will get back to me with a date and time.
Sign it first. What comes this way? Why are we meeting with them?
Bring the checkbook for
About
the
the island, what we're going to do about the island.
And when were the available dates?
You didn't know yet?
He didn't know yet, because their new board, they meet every other week.
Oh, and they're, well, when was the last time they met?
I believe he said their next meeting is going to be April 6th, but they haven't set the agenda for that, so he said he would get back to me.
It's part of the party, don't worry. It's all part of the party.
I had sent an email to the board earlier this week. We had all of our fire extinguishers inspected for all of our town buildings and our police and highway vehicles.
Yep.
And we discovered that the ones in 61 Business Park Drive all needed to be replaced. So that was an unanticipated expense of $310. And what I'd like to suggest is that if we could create add an additional board liaison position for 61 Business Park Drive and ask that the board appoint Al LaPlante, just so that once a week he can swing in there and just check on the building. Just make sure it's properly monitored.
Yeah, good to me.
I'll make a motion to appoint Al as liaison to 61 Business Park Drive.
Second.
Works for me.
Good. Well, you're familiar with the building. We've been there before, and just
Motion's been made and seconded to make Al a liaison to 61 Business Park Drive.
Thank you.
yeah, just for monitoring, not lease agreements or potential purchases. Okay.
I mean, you can't sell it?
All those in favor?
With the
Aye.
board, you can.
Aye.
Aye.
The other thing is I contacted the engineer that we had worked with on putting together the EPA grant for Ernie's, letting him know that we've been getting a lot of inquiries from people. Is there anything we can do? When are we going to hear? You know, what's going on? And he said it likely won't occur until late April or May. There's nothing we can do. They just make a formal announcement and have a press conference.
Well, you know, when we were applying for the grant for Riverfront Park, we were able to call up and get hold of somebody, and they said, well, yeah, you're on the short list. And
We're still there.
yeah, you know, you haven't been kicked off. And
Right.
so,
I'll enter those amounts that I mentioned on each one.
Big
Very good.
marshmallow roast or
Thank you.
something.
A lot of work on that one. Thank you, Joyce.
White marshmallows.
Took a lot of time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, I'd also sent you an email that a request had come in from the American Legion about, you know, how they're going to be putting the Veterans Monument on the other side of Cannon Bridge, and they wanted to know if they could put a break in the bridge approach. And we understand that this is a two-town project because both towns own the bridge. We don't own, like, just to the middle of the bridge. It's like we are liable for the whole
Yeah, but it
bridge.
sounds like they're not going to get permission for
Right,
that.
so what Glenn did is just to contact Nancy Mayville at DOT for guidance, and she came back and she said,
Week in the bridge.
yeah, a request such as this would come to her office for review and response. She's forwarding it to the New Hampshire DOT Bureau of Bridge Design and to the Community Assistance Bridge Engineer. Her preliminary reaction is that we strongly recommend against a break in the bridge approach rail. I believe that this will compromise the required crash-worthiness of the rail, since the gate would not be crash-worthy and would allow vehicles to go through. Also, where the gate would connect to the rail would end up acting as a blunt ends, which we know from our experience on Pine Street. If they were struck by a vehicle. The bridge engineers will hopefully describe the reasons why in better technical terms than I am. As owners of the bridge, you would assume liability for anything that happens as a result of the compromised rail.
I had an informal conversation with a buddy at DOT, and it would definitely weaken the span. There are things you could do, they'd be expensive, but you essentially, where you cut it on each end, those would become ends, and you'd have to add, and then the gate, but the gate would always be a weak spot. You could make the two pieces that you've cut strong, but it would be as though there were just an empty space there where the gate is. And he also said, don't do it, because liability would be huge.
Yep.
Maybe a car may not fit through the gate, but a motorcycle certainly would.
Right. Or what about a kid on a bicycle?
So if you have an opportunity, if you could go over there and just take a look at the area,
Take a look at it.
good. Because if you notice, it's a very steep bank in the back.
As far as I'm concerned, they ought to find another location for the,
I would make a motion that the Tilton Board of Selectmen send the Northfield Board of Selectmen a letter saying that we do not in any way agree to having that rail cut
You making that
and
final motion?
weakened by installing a gate.
Is that what you're doing?
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that, when it comes time, when you all get together to talk about it, just address the fact that if people decide that they're going to go onto that monument, or, to get closer, that it's really, we need to think about
Fencing
or
it.
something.
I think all.
Maybe we should, could you include that on the list of talking points when we meet with the Board of Selectmen, please, over there?
And then I have another good one, keys. Do you want to talk keys?
Yep.
This is the board's most recent policy dated May 2004, and it's just for the town hall. But that's what we have on record.
So it's the policy of this board to limit the issuance of key combinations or electronically scanned cards intended for access to the town hall to the following individuals: selectmen, all members, board commissions, chairman, committee chairman, administrative staff, all members, police, 1, fire, 1, public works, 1, janitorial staff, 1. Issuance and control of said key shall be the sole responsibility of the code enforcement officer. With the exception of the fire and police departments, all other individuals shall immediately, upon termination of employment term of office or conclusion of committee's tasks, surrender their key to the, or card to the issuing officer. I think this was brought up because we had asked whether or not the chairman of the board, chairman of the planning board could have access to the planning board office, because we have a very active chair that comes during the evening and off hours when that door is not open. We're not always here. That's, and they said bring it up. It's not been a past practice, but if we brought it up, that would be it. I think that's where the issue came.
Key to the town hall?
We have a key to the town hall, yes.
Do you have, as code enforcement officer, any sensitive information that's not for public eyes?
It's in my computer. And then we can get in there.
And it's protected by password?
And your desk, you keep your desk?
Yep.
I know Gus keeps hers locked.
I'm not really worried about Jane, so.
No,
I got a problem with it.
but once we make this directive, you have to take the name away, because if we allow the chairman of the planning board, that face could change from 2 years from now. So if we do it for this one, we can't say, well, we're not going to do it for you because we don't trust you.
Right.
right. Or what about the zoning board?
That's the other issue.
Yeah.
That's really the only locked office, other than the selectmen's.
The zoning board chair, does he often come in and do research, or does he have Gus do the research and then pick it up when he comes in?
He's done both.
They must do it during daytime hours.
And generally, he does come over during the day when Gus is here.
When Gus is here. Okay.
I would suggest too, for Jane, that it might be easier if she knows what she's going to be looking for. If you have questions about certain things, if you let Gus know, then she can pull those things out. Because you might waste more time looking for something that
Well,
you
that's
never
what I've
find.
done. But sometimes it's not, neither one of us wants to leave it out on the table.
No, I mean, she could leave it on her desk. If you just
Oh,
unlock the
okay.
desk,
No,
it'll be
I
there
don't
waiting
want-
for you.
I don't want to go in there and go through drawers and stuff. I just need to go in there sometimes to find things that have been left for me. And I can't always get here.
Well, if
at the
there's
same
things
time.
being
That
left
was
for
the
you,
only reason. It's not a big deal.
well, if
It's
it's,
not causing more problems, that's fine.
well, the only thing I was going to suggest is if you're just looking for stuff that she has left for you, why can't we put a bin in the copy room and you can go in and get your stuff right out of the bin? You know, and we can give you the combination to the copy room, you can go right
My
in.
birthday.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
I think everybody has the combination to the copy room. I don't think that's a
I mean,
problem.
I think that would work, too. I mean, what you do is,
I need chocolate, and Al's got it in his office, that's what I was going to steal from him.
Walk.
But I mean, the other
That's
thing,
fine, that's,
you know,
It's a
anytime
huge
you want
chocolate.
to
You don't want
get
that
something in
happen.
there,
Lock it.
you know, you're
It is
welcome to call me.
Okay.
I'll be more than happy to meet you there. Yeah. But I mean, I can also tell you, direct you to where things are in there.
I know myself, I always, if there's something I need, I always go to Gus and have her pull it out, because if we ever misfile something,
Right.
it's gone. Same with the assessing, we have, Gus does all the filing in the assessing files.
Right.
that's fine. If I could just have a bin somewhere so it can be left, and I can leave stuff in.
I'm surprised we didn't have one.
the other thing is that you need to talk with Tim also in that respect, so that you can have access to get onto the computer, because a couple of nights she's come in just before the meeting, and she doesn't know how to get in on the computer.
Oh, on the public computer?
Public computer to print out her,
Yep.
some things that have just come in just before the meeting. And, I mean, I could get in on mine,
Yep.
but then she doesn't have her...
No, I'll talk with him.
Yeah, that should be no problem.
Right.
He just assigns her a
Right.
That'll
password.
work fine, because I really would rather not have a key that doesn't Al's office.
Which, and I need to send another reminder out to everyone that that door has to remain locked. The only time we leave it open is when Gus is physically working, because she's constantly back and forth.
Right.
The minute she leaves, we close that door, and we have to be firmer about
I was going to
leaving
say,
it open.
somebody's leaving it open a lot because,
Why? I haven't seen it open lately.
oh, well, maybe not lately, but.
No, if I see it open,
I mean, if Al's here, it's
we
open.
close it.
Yeah.
No, even when Al's here, I close it.
I usually close it
Because
too if
it's
I go
everybody,
by.
you know, everybody's mail is in there, so.
I want to make an amendment to this.
Oh, you mean the copy room?
The copy room.
Oh, I see,
The door to
yes.
the copy room.
The copy
Isn't
room,
that-
I thought you meant the...
Gonna shut
room.
Alan's
No,
office.
no.
Okay, got
No,
it.
because she basically works in that room, so.
Right, I got it.
When this was written at the time, the code enforcement officer had been and was in charge of the keys, but that responsibility has been changed. So I would like to make a motion that we change this to read the administrative assistant.
Selectman's assistant?
Catherine is the keeper of the keys.
Second. Is that the only change you want to make?
I think so. The rest of it pretty well. We haven't changed any of this, Catherine, have we? I didn't think so.
All those any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
We gave you something tonight, we took away something. It's a balance. It's always a balance out.
Bonus. And Catherine, I'll help you with the keys anyways, like I always have been.
Always a bonus.
Okay, I'm done. Nothing's happened on the Peabody Street signage. The job description for health officers and the to be signed.
Did you get the
Labor.
others?
No, I think you had those, didn't you?
Well, I had sent them to you, but I have a copy of each one of them.
We,
And no word back from Mr. Aho yet
okay.
this week.
We have a letter from Dan Crean on our tax anticipatory note opinion here. We have the operating committee on solid waste, that's for April 5th at 1 PM on Thursday. There's something else in here. The key holders. Redistricting.
The other thing, Pat, I forgot, our lease agreement runs from April 1st to March 31st, so I was going to go ahead and change the dates and send this to Tuscan Hill Properties.
And this is the driveway permit for the Winnisquam development.
They first have to essentially get a driveway permit from the town of Tilton.
Yep.
So I would say that we need to send a letter to them.
Application for driveway permit, Laconia Road, in the town of Tilton, for access to subdivision. B6 unit condominium. 86 unit condominium, excuse me.
I would make a suggestion, we send a letter to DOT, or call them up and let them know that they have not applied for a driveway permit to access the town's road,
Right.
which they'd have to.
So that's the
Get permission to
right-of-way that goes to Iverson's? What actually would they be
Well,
accessing?
Iverson is on the town portion of those that was cut off too. He's right there on the end of that. And then it goes, all those little cottages that are in that semicircle. And then they were going to where it starts to go up right there and kind of curves, but it goes just across the edge of the road there, the old Route 3, and then back up into the development. That was their second entrance or exit, to satisfy the fire. But they need to fill out an application and have Dennis go and look at it, and then it has to be approved.
So did they approve your driveway?
Well, it's going to go to public hearing, but we do have subdivision regulations in place, and there is a driveway application in place.
So do you want the land use office to send a letter?
She can, but, well, the other thing, though, is they're going to have to come in anyway. They've got to do a site plan. And when they come in to do that site plan, because they have to update everything. So when they come in, that would be, like, I usually sit down with Dustin, I'll say, well, Dustin, and tell them they're going to have to do this, this, and this. And the town driveway permit would be part of that.
Well, we don't want the state to approve that permit
Right,
before they have permission to access Route 3 over our road.
right,
So they need to be told as soon as possible.
right. They need to just Now, was that a permit for both ends? Is that two driveways? Yeah, let me just see.
No, according to Catherine, Joanna said that PAR was approved by the commissioners. But we don't have a copy of their minutes, but
He's been doing it for how many months now? Okay, where do we sign this? Governing bodies, please sign in ink. L the plant, so he must have known where to sign.
This is just the application.
Right.
Yeah.
So and they're sending it us for our response. So we need to respond to them as soon as possible to let them know that that needs to be put on hold by them.
But this is saying one driveway entrance to my property. He's only applied for one driveway entrance.
And is there a map that describes each one? When I saw their application, when they came in
I haven't seen that.
as their conceptual, what they're asking for came right over onto the town's, what used to be town Route 311.
Are they coming around that wetland?
Daniel Webster Highway.
Are they coming around the wetland?
North of Route 3. on
This way, and then,
2,922 feet west of Chapman Road.
That's pretty funny.
Thinking.
That's pretty funny. So where's
It's
that?
got written down here.
They're supposed to provide, see,
Well,
DOT
they
has the map.
Yes, they just didn't include a map with this application.
But I'm assuming because they already have a driveway cut on the upper end, right?
you want an outlet?
Which our road's here, their driveway's here. What I saw was over here.
Yeah.
So they definitely, but we should alert DOT to those circumstances
Right.
anyway.
That's to be signed. Joyce, I want to say something about this Grange Hall and Mango security. I had several calls because one of the subcontractor couldn't get the alarm correct. But for over a year now, we made out these forms that said, in the event that the alarm goes off, the first person to be called will be Pat Constantino. The second person to be called will be Catherine Dawson, and Lord knows, we've gotten a few of those calls. This past weekend, well, it might not have been on the weekend, I got calls like 3 in a row, and every single one of them have been dispatched a police officer. And I said, wait a minute, you're telling me that you've dispatched a police officer to this without calling me first? I'm the first person that you call. I answered. First person. Said yes. There was no answer at the number 524. Well, there's not going to be an answer at the number 524 because there's no phone hooked up to it. There's nothing there. It never has been. So,
But they don't call the police, it's an automatic dispatch when the burglar alarm goes off.
no,
Then they call,
Yeah, there
isn't
is
it?
a phone line. We do pay for a phone line there. 'cause
but there's not, but what they're doing is calling the phone line. Nobody's answering the phone
So
line,
there's a delay.
so they're calling the police dispatch because nobody's calling the phone line. Then they're calling me.
My understanding is when the burglar alarm goes off, the police are automatically dispatched. Then they start making the phone calls. But that's just my,
If it's a fire, they call Lakes Region Mutual Aid.
right.
It's a burglar alarm.
Because
So-
I wouldn't want them to go through the phone tree while say somebody broke in.
They
I
have-
wouldn't want them to be going through the phone tree, waiting for somebody to call while somebody's in there breaking in.
Well, that's my point, because they're trying to get this telephone number that doesn't exist. We told them it didn't exist. We've been telling them now since 2005 it doesn't exist.
Oh, come on,
Pay
that's awful.
$204 a year for this monitoring service.
It doesn't exist. We tell them it doesn't exist, but they insist on calling this number, and if this number doesn't answer, they dispatch.
Who does the security for Mango system?
Rapid
response.
So are we notifying Rapid Response
So
or
I
Mango?
but I talked with Rapid Response, and I said, well, wait a minute. There's a telephone there. It's not hooked up. What? It hasn't been hooked up for years. It's only there for the security system. That's all it's there for. Nobody's going to answer it. Do you understand? This is an unmanned municipal building. It is not going to answer. We have been over this and over this and over this with Mango.
And what did
The
Rapid say?
the first person to be called should be the first person on your list. Well, that's the way we have it. If that's the way you have it, then why are you calling this 524 number? Well, that's the way we have it. Well, which is it? You tell me, which is it? Is it that you call Pat Constantino and Catherine Dawson, or do you call this 524 number, dispatch, then call Pat Constantino and Catherine Dawson? No, we call 524 and then dispatch, then call Pat Constantino and Catherine Dawson, and then Sandy Plester, whatever.
Yeah, but we're supposed to tell them who to call.
What? We have been
But the point
telling them
is-
for over a year now that
So
you
what do we
do
do?
not. We do not do this. Now they're going to send in, I talked with the supervisor, Brian from Mangle called and said, Pat, you're changing this. I said, Brian, I'm not changing a damn thing. Excuse my language. I'm not changing it. This has been in existence forever. I don't care what your paperwork says. I'm telling you that this phone number has not existed. Nobody can answer this phone at the Grange. If I was sitting there right now and you called me, I can't answer it. It is for your security system only, period. It's an unmanned, soon-to-be manned, unmanned building. The first person that should be called should be the person that's on the list,
Rather than calling dispatch.
rather than calling dispatch. Hello, do you know, we have a burglar alarm, blah, blah, blah. I can say to them, I'm 5 minutes away from there, I can call, I'll take care of it, or I could say dispatch, period. If I know that there's nobody up there working up there, I can say dispatch, period, and then they dispatch. But it should be up to us, not up to them. Do you realize within an hour's time, we had 3 people dispatched to the Grange?
What was the problem?
Because we had an idiot up there that was a painter that didn't know how to shut the alarm off.
I scared him. I just walked in quietly and stood there staring at him.
We had a person not knowledgeable enough to turn off the
I
alarm.
wondered why we got that. Can I see that?
Better known as an idiot.
Yeah, because as far
Correct.
as I know, we haven't changed anything.
We have not changed a
But he
thing, but
charged us
why?
$30 once to go in and redo something.
We changed the passwords. Remember, we had to get the codes different?
I guess bottom line is what we need to do is send them
We better not be
an
charged for that.
email stating in order what we want done and get a response from them so they know and understand
I would send
that
them,
we need that to be in place.
I would send them a certified return receipt letter. That way we have an acknowledgement. that
Well,
they've
he's sending
accepted
us a change. Hold on a minute. He's sending us a change. I don't want to get charged for that change because it is not a change. It is the same procedure that we have had in place now since I've been selectman. Since I asked you if we could take over the Grange and try to make it into a senior center. It has been the same procedure.
Right, but my question is, once the building's in use and the smoke alarm goes off, they're going to call Lakes Region Mutual Aid first, correct? Okay,
Correct.
because that's a wide...
Absolutely, correct.
Okay, if the intrusion goes off, you want them to call you,
No, once it's occupied,
once it's occupied.
that's correct. Once it's occupied, then,
But right now, it's not occupied.
correct.
Once it's occupied, we will make that change.
Right.
Right now, it's not occupied.
Once it's occupied, we will know, we will have a different procedure to do. Perhaps we'll have a phone there. They can call the phone first. If nobody's there, then they dispatch.
Okay, so while the building is unoccupied, if the intrusion alarm goes off, they are to go to the phone tree.
That's the way it's always been, Joyce. Can't tell you how many times I've gotten phone calls from them. Even when we were standing in the main hall when we had the squirrel intrusion.
I know, but see, I don't see your name on the authorized individuals to be notified in sequence. Your name isn't on.
Look at the top. Look at way up.
Yeah, it has your name and number on it, but that's the account information. That's not the name to be, authorized individuals to be notified in sequence goes to her first.
Well, see, it's
And then-
wrong.
Yeah, and then this part is just, if one of us is going in the building, that we have the ability to, we're all level 6s, so we can
Disarm
it. I'll just have to go grab the other file and look at it, because I do know that he charged us $30 to reprogram it, which he did remotely. He didn't have to physically go there.
So he took me right off the list. Ugh, not a
No, your
brainer.
name is the account number, but the sequence,
Do we have copies of this? Other copies from the past?
yeah, they're all down in the file.
Okay, why don't we review those? So that we'll know what we're being charged, what was there.
Well, we may be charged in the future.
I know that for this building, if the fire alarm goes off, it goes to Lakes Region, and then they call me, and if they don't get me, then they call Dennis, as I well aware know at 2:14 in the morning in January. When the burglar alarms go off, the intrusion alarms or our panic buttons go off, the police show up. If I were to accidentally press the alarm, I've got a code that they call, or I can quickly call them and say, it's me, give my code, false alarm, don't send the troops. So I'm assuming that would be the same way it would work.
Yeah. I just, because I know I got a call the other day on this one.
Yeah, because you're on the call list.
Yeah. And
So,
We'll
I
compare it
mean,
with the other ones and see.
I just, it's got to be corrected, and it's not.
Their employee.
Not our decisions. We don't say that.
Right, because you're on there twice, Sandy. Maybe that's why you're getting more than, yeah. Because, I mean, I didn't type this in. This is something they produced. All right, we'll check it. All right.
Go back as far as you have record.
Oh, yeah, everything's in there. Ever since we switched over from,
This personal action report from the sewer commissioners, why isn't it signed by them?
Nothing to do with
It's
us.
their employee, it's their money.
why isn't it signed by them?
Right.
Because they're paid through our payroll system. We can't make any changes in our payroll system without a personnel action report form.
Right, but we should have one signed by the sewer commissioners.
Oh, I agree, and I said that Joanna said that they had approved it in their minutes.
I'm not signing that
But they didn't give
unless I see it.
Well,
That's what-
they should produce one. This is their employee.
Right, but it's our payroll
I
system.
know, but they should produce, it.
I know, I agree with you. They should be signing that.
I'm not signing it.
They should be signing that. And
I mean, we can also sign it, but they should be
They should
signing
be
it.
signing
no,
it.
we should not be signing this.
Yes, because it won't get entered into our payroll system unless the selectmen approve that being entered. This is all part of the internal controls. We don't make
Yeah,
any
well,
changes to the payroll
that'll
system.
change as soon as I get time to go down to
The
the
selectmen
local
sign.
government center. But in the meantime, there should be one of these signed by the sewer commissioners.
with you.
We look at it and say, okay, and then we can sign one to suffice
To get it
the
into
payroll system. But we shouldn't be signing this without their signature. I mean, I have every faith in the department head signature, but procedure-wise, this is inappropriate.
I agree.
When does their next quarter begin?
Their next quarter, April 1st.
This is per quarter, so they're on January through December with this. Oh, yeah, they would be, of course they would be.
Did she say anything else? She gave it to you?
The sewer commissioners won't meet again till the end of April.
And she would, we'll give it back to her and she can do what she wants in terms of getting in touch with the sewer commission.
Yeah, since they made the motion in their minutes, then she could just produce the document, and they could come in and sign it, and we'd have it for next week. I just didn't want to disenfranchise the employee. Thank you. These internal control issues,
Well, this is interesting that it was addressed to Tim.
who in town has the ability to enter into contractual agreements besides the selectmen? I know the Conservation Commission can purchase property, and I have yet to look into the RSAs to refresh myself as to exactly what that authority is, but he is suggesting there are other entities that can enter into binding contracts. Who else could do that?
The planning board can enter into contracts. You'll sign something, then the selectmen have to sign it. You can't enter into a contract unless the selectmen also sign it.
Right.
Same with zoning board. They're hiring any consultant work. I mean, the statutes
But
say...
they can't hire that unless we approve
The
it.
statutes say planning boards can hire employees and consultants, but none of that can be done without the approval of the
Well, I was going to
selectmen.
say, it's always been one of those things, I don't know how it is with Gus, but if the board wanted to hire a consultant, then I would write a letter to the selectmen stating that, and, that the board...
They'd have to get approved from the board, so
Right.
I don't understand his number two. I'm sitting here trying to figure out who else. I mean, the only one I came up with is Conservation Commission can purchase property,
Right.
but they have their own funds to do that.
Right, but they have to go through a procedure.
They have to
do
go
that.
through a procedure, but
Especially
other
if they're
than
taking
that,
something off the tax rolls, they have to come and...
yeah, other than that, what is he,
And the Parks Commission have their own funds.
Right, but
They
they
can't
but they
enter into-
still
they-
have
yeah.
the buck
Right.
stops with you folks.
right.
You're the
It's
bottom
like when
line.
they go through the procedure of hiring.
Right.
That'll have to be approved by the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
They may have their own part of the budget,
Yeah.
but they can't, that doesn't mean they can enter contractual agreements without approval of the board.
Right.
So,
I think he just wants to make the board aware that any board, commission, or committee, if they enter into any type
no,
of...
he's saying, I want to bring to the board's attention that due to the relationship of some of the boards and commissions in town, some are permitted to enter into binding contracts, which could create a future financial liability for the town. This is alarming.
Right.
So it alludes to the fact that there are some boards and commissions out there that think they can enter into these binding contracts.
Well, wouldn't that be the Parks Commission?
Right.
Yeah.
It is.
That's the Parks Commission.
What binding contracts have they entered into?
The bids for the landscaping, purchasing the ice rink.
Yeah.
That wasn't a contract, we made a purchase. There was no contract involved. We made a purchase.
What about
There was
the-
no guarantees, except that, if something breaks, they'll fix it, but
Hiring vendors to install electrical work, and,
that's not a binding contract.
well, we should have had a
There's no-
certificate of insurance
There's no
on
contractual
file from that.
agreements. Well, then,
worker.
but that's not, what he's saying is much more alarming to me than what we've just talked about, than hiring people to do work. And yes, I agree. But, who's signing contractual agreements?
Other than Parks Commission in Conservation on buying property, that be us.
Do we need to
It would
send a
just be
letter
us.
to boards and commissions reminding them that they can't enter?
Well, we have, we do have a policy, and we have sent letters that they can't, that they need to follow our purchasing policy, Selectmen's purchasing policy, and
Well, since we're starting a new year, can we send that out to all of them again? Does it also note in there that when they're hiring someone to do work, the procedure that needs to be followed? Certificates of insurance, et cetera, et cetera?
which would be good for us to do anyway, to everybody, so.
Yeah.
I just have a question. I don't know if Gus has ever done it. I did it when I was in the office. When the board would hire another engineer to go over the work, I mean, the town didn't pay for it, it was paid for by the applicant. But what I would do is I would call a couple of different engineers, get a price structure, and then give it back to the board, and they, with the applicant, the board would then decide on which engineer to review the plans and everything. Basically, that's the only thing I could think of that was ever done. But that was...
But you should not have entered into an agreement with that individual you selected unless the Board of Selectmen approved it.
Well, I think they always did, because once the board made their selection, then it was signed off by the Board of Selectmen.
Well, then you got approval from the Board of Selectmen.
But that's the only thing that we ever did. I don't know about now, but that we ever did that would have come
Could you make sure that those get sent out, Joyce? And make sure that they include the procedure for hiring vendors and employees, because that will be coming up for them.
Yes, and it's also each department's responsibility to get the W-9 form from any vendor. And I know that for some of the commissions, we have to chase around and do that, and that they're supposed to do that. We should have that, if a purchase order comes in.
Will you make sure that that's in there? I mean, really spell it out, the procedure. They asked me when they opened the bids last week, and I said, yes, it had to be approved. But it's far better to have it in writing. Then there's no mistake.
Right.
Would you ask that they all acknowledge receipt, whether you send it by email or by hard copy, that they acknowledge that they have received it?
Right.
And they have no questions. Is that okay? Is everybody in agreement with that?
A note from Joe. His brother's doing well.
Very good.
Excellent.
Making good progress.
Say hi back at you.
I did.
On with the show.
I did said miss you. I didn't say we loaded you up with committees, but I felt that to the end.
It's his fault. He said he wanted the same things he had, and that he was interested in those other two, so...
Did anyone let him know about Concord?
Yes. Oh, yeah, he was, yeah.
I bet he was
I've been sending all the articles.
not
too,
happy.
so, yeah.
And Dennis will be back on Monday, so we'll make sure he's up to speed.
Okay. All right, you have anything for us?
Everything's going well in the code department. It's a little bit slow right now, but, well, I wouldn't say slow, but it's average. Hopefully got a few projects coming up. A lot of violations.
We saw enough yesterday.
Scott does a pretty good job. The guy does a pretty good job with me, so he's working out.
Catherine, do you have anything for us?
I've lived.
Moving right along.
The first one's on the agenda, the recycling issue we need to talk about. That one can wait.
Where are the hours?
I've gotten my response back from local government center. I told you last week that I had, I don't know what I did with it, to make a motion to indemnify the, I think it got picked up.
You can't be organized. You can't be at the table.
I did, I had it right there. To indemnify the boards and committees. But I can't seem to find it. So, the flagpole out here, the two flagpoles, we've been having an ongoing problem with them. And the flags just in the wind. and wearing their windy guns, just twist right up onto the poles. So I called the flag people down in Concord, and they have a device that we can buy. They're $25 for each pole. That will go on there. And, I forgot exactly what he called it.
And it just turns with it.
Swivels? Flag swivel.
He said it's supposed to guarantee that it will not tangle up on the pole.
We've used them before.
Do they work? I mean, I was looking for, it's like mine that comes off my house, has a little plastic ring, tab on it. But he has a specific name for this. And he said they're about like $25.95 a piece. And but you are familiar?
Yes, the phone company used to have them off of their building downtown Manchester where we were in like a wind tunnel.
And they really work?
And they really work, yep.
Okay. So,
If it's the same thing you're talking about.
Swivel.
Yeah, it's like a swivel, right.
if somebody's going here, if we want to, if somebody, because I have them take them down. We've had people going, they just constantly wrap around the pole, and, that's not
Right.
appropriate, so they're there until we come up with a resolution to it.
Okay. Which outfit did you talk about?
The one on Main Street in Concord.
Maybe you can send Catherine down to purchase it.
Want to go to Concord? I would talk to, I talk to the PD if they're going to be down there, or even the highway. I know they go to sleepers sometimes, and the different thing, but
I can always shoot down there.
pardon?
I can always shoot down there.
Yeah, that's a solution if we want to go that way. I had a conversation with Bill Hickey about the cracks in the sealant for Business Park Drive, and that typically when you have a crack in concrete, and that's in the mortar and down into the concrete, you treat it separately, and then you seal it. The product that he's recommending, we all know, is going to change the color of the building. He asked me if I would give him time to investigate, because he felt pretty certain that the salesman had represented that there was a sealant. The one, I can tell you right now, it's the only one that I was able to find on the market that would bridge that air gap that a crack causes. So he was quite anxious to talk to the salesman. I said, sure. We need to set a date to sit down with Dennis to review and start working on a plan to come with our 10-year plan for our town roads and our Class 2 State Aid roads. And do we want to entertain joining a lawsuit with other communities for the redistricting plan?
Yep. If it's to our benefit. I said that hastily, yes, because that may work to our disadvantage if we're in a redistricting plan with other towns and cities, and we go along with their plan because it provides a better positive outcome for them. I'm not sure that that would be.
There's a couple of groups of thought that's going on. I mean, one seems to be a scare tactic that's coming from one group in particular, that if we go through the court process, and we heard that here that night during the presentation, that the court is going to come up with a redistricting plan.
But did you read that article?
Yes, and then the other side will tell you, well, the court doesn't want to create a redistricting plan. They're essentially probably, most likely, and of course this is theoretical, is going to say go back and make it more constitutionally sound. I'm just throwing it out there. Might be premature. If we want to be proactive, we'd be contacting those other communities that are disadvantaged and, throwing the seed out there to see what they're going to do, but I suspect that that's coming forward. Okay, I would like to make a motion to the table for discussion, to vote to indemnify and save harmless for loss or damage any person employed by the town of Tilton and any member or officer of its governing body, administrative staff, or agencies, including but not limited to selectmen, town health officer, overseers of public welfare, from personal financial loss and expense, including reasonable legal fees and costs, if any, arising out of any claim, demand, suit, or judgment by reason of negligence or other act resulting in accidental injury to a person or accidental damage to or destruction of property, if the indemnified person at the time of the accident resulting in the injury, damage, or destruction was acting in the scope of employment or office. And that comes directly from the local government center.
We didn't have anything like that?
They recommend periodically that we do that. You know, maybe not yearly, but at least every 3 or 4 years. So, I don't remember it being done for quite a long
I don't
time.
remember it. We don't think we've done it since we've been on it.
We've done it since I've been here.
So,
But not since we've been here.
I think if you look through, we haven't done it for quite a while. Because I think I was the last one that did it.
I'll second the
But
motion.
Catherine will help you to have this.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Getting late in the night, chocolate's coming out.
Did we vote? I heard discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye. And last but not least, I was handed this by the town clerk. The State of New Hampshire Treasury Department of Unclaimed Property Division is holding monies unclaimed by the Tilton PD, the town of Tilton, and the Tilton Selectmen's Department.
We can have a party.
Maybe we'll be going to Bimini, huh?
I wonder what those are.
Quick,
I don't know, but I can...
find out how much we may be able to buy 29 Beach Street for our retreat after all.
And I can tell you, it's not a ruse.
Vendor checks to Irving Oil Corporation.
It's definitely not a ruse.
Can you give me that website? I'd like to go on and see if there's any money for me, too.
Well, she had told me about it a month or so ago, and I was sitting there doing
Well, you know who would
some
have
stuff, and I
fun
put my
with
own name in. Guess what?
Can we find out and see how much it is? I mean, it's probably 39 cents or something, but
this? Well, we have to provide some documentation, but so I have to see exactly what it is.
Right.
Well, once you make the claim, then they'll send you the paper that tells you specifically what they need. It's typically, well, for a person, it's driver's license, social security card, and proof of address.
Excuse me, ma'am, but that's Selectman's desk over there? Yeah, I know exactly what you're doing.
The only other thing I have is the questions about the interrogatories.
I have one question, and that was brought up in a discussion recently that about recycling, and then recycling, we brought up another discussion about our hours and of the dump and when they're open and when they're not open. I'd like to look into it a little further, but I'd like to see our hours of operation in the dump open a little bit longer, or on Saturday afternoon or Sunday.
I think we should open up discussions with Northfield again and partnering them with their recycling operation.
How long ago did you do that?
Oh, it was when Joe was the selectman.
And I was back from Newmarket.
How long was that?
I'm going to say
Maybe it was before I went to Newmarket.
say it's probably been at least 10 years. Probably a little bit more than that.
It's 13, so at least minimum of 10 years.
Yeah.
Were you over in Northfield at the time? And so what would you do? Recycle, bring our things over there during the week and...
As I recall, and I could be wrong, I think what the issue was with Northfield was that Northfield had made a tremendous capital investment in purchasing land,
Yep,
equipment, putting up buildings,
Yeah.
paying staff, and they didn't feel that they were being, that wasn't taken into consideration. But I'm sure there must be a file here somewhere.
Well, I'm sure there must be. Well, that was, right after that happened is when we built the facilities where it's
The
at now.
Nobles engineering report was March 29th, 2001.
11 years ago.
I think what sparked it was when you closed the highway garage, because you used to have the collection down there. And then you opened it up here.
Why did they close the highway garage up there?
Home Depot,
So it was 2001, I think it was Washington.
Did we only lease the property there?
No,
We owned it?
we owned it, we sold it.
Okay.
Well, it was coming up on the time anyway where we were going to have to close down part of it.
September 25th, 2001, the Northfield Selectmen made
Right.
a decision. Following deliberation, we have concluded that it would not be feasible to enter into a joint recycling program in the town of Tilton at this time.
Who were the Northfield Selectmen?
In 2001, probably Lana Dearborn, Jamie, and I don't know. Don't remember.
Glenn Brown, Lana Dearborn, and William Nickerson.
But part of the problem that I remember the selectmen talking about at the time was everything was a go until we got a positive buyer on the whole facility, and then they just, no, we're not going to do it. So that left Tilton kind of in a lurch as to what they were going to
Because
do.
we were making money and...
The reports at the time indicated that would be in the best interest of both towns, especially Northfield's,
Right.
to enter into that agreement, because at the time they needed to update some pretty expensive equipment.
Yeah, and we were going to be part of that update. But
So we
anyway,
were
it
gonna
didn't
help
happen,
purchase in
so they bought the land down there and they...
And we built that one down
Yeah.
there. Okay, I see.
We were already moving the garage.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it was going,
Yeah, that wasn't part of this, that was already going.
Right.
but we had to put then the recycling, what we could do.
We had to put the recycling in
Yeah.
there.
And the only reason we put the recycling in here was because I reminded the selectmen at the time, the town meeting had mandated that we provide
Right.
a trash disposal site, so the recycling we have is just, a minor little thing.
Yeah,
It's really not recycling the way it should be. But this is the NRRA report on why it was a good thing, and this is the Nobis.
Is there information in there when Bestway had approached they wanted to do Belmont, Northfield, and Tilton? They were going to build a...
Bestway wanted to build a facility on 132 on the Casey Nickerson property. This is a contract. I'd have to look. This is pay-as-you-throw. No, this is contractors. This is curbside. I may have that in another file over there. I have quite a bit on recycling. But they wanted the town of Tilton to own the property, build the site, and then lease it to them. They were not willing to take responsibility of any pollution that might occur on the site. And then we discovered from talking to the Department of Environmental Services that no matter what type of written agreement we had with the entity leasing it, ultimately the responsibility of any type of cleanup would be the responsibility of the owner of the property. Jim Pressure. So we declined. But it isn't going to hurt us to enter into a conversation with Markfield because it would be in the best interest of those towns.
It always hurts us.
It would probably make their
It always hurts us.
process more
Get you started.
economically sound.
Get you started.
It always hurts us. Sorry. Well, maybe with the new board, it might not. But
Right.
the last year, it's always, every time we've talked with them, it's hurt us to enter into conversation with them. It has. I've been so negative about it. Anything we do.
Not Old Home Day?
Well, yeah.
Even Old Home Day?
In Old Home Day, they wanted to cut their, didn't they? Cut the budget in Old Home Day over there.
Would you put that on a list of talking points for them? I'll bring it up.
So,
But we
what do you think about having our dump hours open, longer on a Saturday or maybe a Sunday?
Split it, Saturday and Sunday.
I think Al's right. What time do they open on Saturday?
9 to
o'clock.
1.
9 to 1.
I think it should be at least 8 to 1. 'Cause most people want their weekends. Most people will get up early and dump, and I think it should be Sunday. Should Sunday be the same?
Yep.
8 to 1?
I think there are we've been approached by a lot of residents in town that said, why don't we have it on a Sunday? Well, my answer to them was it's never been cost effective, but after a while you say that, we really want to be able to do what's right for the residents, and if you have people in town that are working 2 jobs, their only time with their family is on the weekend, and the only time they can get to recycling or anything like that is on a weekend. And, if they have children and there's games going on Saturday, at least they have Sunday to do it.
Should we also, and I agree with you, should we also enter into a conversation with Bestway on their facility on 140 to see what is available?
For hours, you mean?
Yeah, well, no, what kind of program they would have for our residents to recycle their incentives. We need to make a motion to change the hours down there, don't we? I'll make a
Yes, we
motion to the
do.
table for discussion to change the hours at the dump.
What do you mean by best way in recycling over there? Because the residents can bring things over there.
Well, let's get this taken care of.
Don't you want to talk to
Talk to
Dennis
Dennis?
about how he's going to man it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say this politely. I think the needs of
I know, but he's got to look at his budget and readjust his budget.
That's right. But his budget is really our budget.
Oh, I know.
So if we're going to do this, then we're doing this with the knowledge that monies may have to be shifted around to account for it. But I don't think the needs of our citizens should be precluded by trying to figure out how we're going to do it. It's a matter of, we'll get it done.
Well, I was just going to say, I know there's times when he's not busy at all on Saturday.
The fact of the matter is, we are going to have to come up with a way of recycling in order to reduce our curbside. That's a fact.
Well, have you thought of maybe,
We may have to expand our operation down there to include more curbside, more recycling.
Right.
But then the question is going to be, where do we get rid of it? Do we have somebody pick it up? Do we put it in trailers that we can take someplace and bring it to someplace that recycle? We've got a huge question here, and hopefully the recycling committee will take it up. But in the meantime, as Pat said, I have people telling me all the time how inconvenient it is. Some people think it's ridiculous we're open on Wednesdays, but I don't think we should close Wednesdays, because typically when we've done things like that in the past, those people that are used to it, we hear that hue and cry.
Right.
But
what about an all-day Saturday?
most people,
I was just thinking, because then in terms of staffing, you could rotate them around, where who's ever working the Saturday then would take Sunday and Monday off, so then you wouldn't have to be dealing with overtime.
very
But then
good
you take-
point.
But then you're taking away from Dennis's schedule for during the week, if he's got him scheduled to do work. Usually the guy who does dump on Saturdays, if he did it 4 hours, could do he'd do the whole weekend, do 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours Sunday. You're going to encompass some overtime no matter what you do.
Right, well, they rotate the overtime now.
And it's only going to be in the summertime. It's not going to be in the wintertime. Because those dumpsters go away, so
Well,
it's not year-round.
We're not talking about doing this year-round?
You can't do it year-round. He
he
has no room for
closes
dumpsters.
year-round. I mean, he closes in the winter, really.
There's no room for dumpsters.
Well, that's true, he does.
No, he still
has
does the
all-
commingle.
Yeah, but he gets rid of
Oh,
the
that's
3
right.
major dumpsters.
He
Yes.
still has, in the
Well, he
winter,
does recycling in the winter,
in the
too.
winter it's reduced, but again,
He doesn't have the
we may be
households
changing our
and
complete
metal and stuff.
operation down there,
Right,
because
but he also in the
we're going to take a huge hit
close if it's a snowstorm.
without that.
You can't get in.
You're right, he
Facility.
will. He will randomly close for a snowstorm in the winter.
Because they're all out
Well,
plowing.
we have to expect that,
Yeah,
but we just have to do more diligence to our people to let them know, because people weren't aware of that.
well, I think, what if we had like a rules, if you go to year-round, then on the rules, if it snows, we're closed, because.
Something.
just Something simple like that, but at least they
At
would
least
know.
state it.
Yeah, we've
Right.
got to have it out there.
I
It
agree
can't
with
be
you
just
on that.
understood.
Right,
agree.
because you can't expect it to leave the facility open if there's nobody there to man it.
Right.
Why don't we just do a trial for the summer and see what happens?
So Joyce made an interesting point. Do we want to be open all day Saturday or spread it out Sunday to Monday? Most people will get up Saturday morning and load their trucks and then beat feet down there to try to get there before 1 o'clock.
Right.
I say do it Saturday and Sunday.
Well, people on Sundays are home.
What time on Sunday?
Same
the
time.
same time.
Same time.
8 to 1? People in church then?
Yes.
I kind of like the idea of all-day Saturday because,
Sunday,
well,
I'm kind of thinking that too.
you have Saturday, and if you have a project such as, I'm coming up with this, in my household, I know my landlord is, not me, my landlord. By the time you load things up, get there to the house, load things up, it's just past 1 o'clock and you've missed the dump run.
Yep.
And, that extra hour would have given them the dump run.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying Saturday and Sunday. Because what about that? What about them people that do their all-day project on a Saturday and they can't get it dumped till next weekend? And they're stuck with all this stuff all week.
Now, are you talking about their recyclables, or?
I'm talking about regular
Everything.
jobs.
If you're open, you're open.
Anything you're doing around the house.
Yeah, whether it's,
Whether you're doing
They-
reconstruction, whether you're doing
But
your
you-
recyclables.
You're taking it to the highway garage for your construction demo or your
Yeah.
household burnables, you are paying for that. Whereas you can take those same things to Best Way.
And pay for it.
And pay for it.
So
But
it's,
I think the convenience is going to your own town dump. That's what they're paying, that's why they
It's
want
a
to
higher price that you're paying,
go over to Best Way.
right.
but most people will be throwing away general trash in the trash bins.
but they're not supposed to, because you're paying for it twice then, because you're paying for curbside collection. I think
But the curbside won't take mattresses, for
Right.
example. They
Right,
won't
so there's
take,
your household burnables, you mean, your
Yeah.
household stuff that can be taken to the incinerator.
right,
Right, but that's what he doesn't take all year round.
right.
right.
Right now, he doesn't.
Right.
Right now he doesn't, but again, without the new facility, trash is a whole new problem for the town of Tilton.
I think we are just,
I'm just thinking, maybe you had mentioned trying to work out some sort of deal with Best Way. Maybe they would give a break. I'm just thinking of what's the break even here in terms of wages.
Right, but in the
versus
meantime,
disposal costs, and then what, maybe something.
our summer is coming and people want a place to throw their stuff. And I think that we should expand those hours, no matter what else we do. And whether that's Saturday and Sunday or all day Saturday, I don't know.
I'd divide it. That's just my opinion.
I'm kind of inclined to
Think
go
all
for
day-
Saturday all day.
All day
'cause-
Saturday
Oh,
or Sunday?
It would seem to me like an all-day Saturday and then be closed on Sunday would be better. I mean, generally speaking, most people I know on Sunday, that's family day. It's, you go to church, you have family over for dinner. I mean, it's just like more of a, I mean, it's just, that's how most people that we know are like. They're busy on Saturday, they're working on Saturday as far as around the house, the projects they have going and whatnot, but not so much on Sunday.
I think for general trash purposes, I know me, I don't want to have to be dirty 2 days in a row.
Right.
If I load up my truck Saturday morning,
All
I
right,
want
we
it
beat
out of
this
my
horse,
truck.
we beat this horse to death, let's vote on it.
Make a motion that we change our hours down at the transfer station to Saturday from 8 to 4. Keeping Wednesday intact.
Is this a trial for this year?
We can change it anytime we want. We're the selectmen. Doesn't that sound awful?
Whoa.
Doesn't that sound awful?
Lift your boots up. I'll second that. The motion's been made and seconded. I think we've talked about it, but if there's any added discussion to it, be more than willing to hear it. Hearing none. Would you like that? I'll call the vote. All those in favor of increasing the hours to Wednesdays 1 to 3 and Saturdays 8 to 4 for the number of hours.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay.
I'm opposed.
He wants 2 days.
That's my opinion.
No, I'd rather have
The ayes have it. Well, when do we want this in effect?
What's effective right
As soon
now?
as it's opened. Oh, yeah, now. That's right. I forget we're hauling trash. Well, I think we need to give him some time.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, we can't just go now. How about,
Hello, Fred, you're working this week till 4.
how about 2 weeks?
Yeah,
2 weeks, 2 weeks unreasonable?
He's got to
Do 2
readjust
weeks
his
ago, I don't agree with you
schedules and
guys.
everything.
Oh, that's right.
Let's see.
Yeah, but now it's a done deal.
I still don't agree with you.
Well, you could start Saturday, April 14th, or you could start Wednesday, April 18th.
Well, you could make a
Wednesday's open
motion,
anyway.
you could make a motion now, Al, and we have 8 to 4, and that's a done deal. Make a motion for 9 to 1 on
The
Sundays.
week goes from Monday to Sunday, so it would make sense to start it during the whole,
Yeah.
So that
start it on a Wednesday.
on a Wednesday, so that's...
Well, the Wednesday's going to stay the same, so that, it would be that,
1 to 3, we're 9 to 1 on Wednesdays.
No.
No, we're 1 to 3.
1 to 3 on Wednesdays.
Yes.
yeah, we're only open for a couple of hours.
1 to
So
3
it
on
would be
Wednesday
that
and
Saturday. I wondered why you threw Wednesday in.
Wednesday, it's no change at all.
No, Wednesday's not to change, that was my
Okay,
motion.
keep it 1 to 3.
Right.
So it would be the following Saturday, from that Wednesday.
That'd be the 14th.
I'll give him 2 weeks. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Welcome.
Dennis, while you were away,
All right, next.
recycling, town hall, reports, that's
I need
it.
to get these signed.
We have a,
Oh, yeah, the job descriptions.
we have
I
a...
already approved them, didn't we?
Yeah, you did. And I put all the changes you had, Catherine, in yours.
Thank you.
We have an auction on April 2nd, this Monday, at Ken Barrett's for the senior, Tilton Senior Center.
Would you ask Tim to, I keep forgetting to, create a stationary letterhead that shows the Board of Health? I'm the health officer. Some people don't realize, most people don't realize that the Board of Selectmen is the Board of Health. And they'll ask me, why do they have a right to appeal a health decision to the Board of Selectmen?
So, I'm sorry, you want to be the health officer with the selectmen being shown as Board of Health?
Yeah, it should show that the Board of Health, Tilton Board of Health, show the Selectmen.
Like you have a letterhead showing the
Okay, but this
selectmen.
is Tilton Board of Health,
Yeah.
Right.
and then health officer.
Oh, I should be passing it to you.
Oh, just to the side. You could just specifically on that one.
Now, what, did you want him to make some code enforcement?
No idea. Yep. How's that to go?
Are these all just one night?
There were two non-publics on that day. One was
All right, can we, as a board, look at these non-publics, and if you approve, initial them tomorrow, Monday?
Yeah, we can come in and do them during the week.
We can do them during the week, and then we'll just initial on the front, once we all have the initials,
Why
or
don't we
initial
make it-
on the back.
Why don't we make it a policy to, when you have them ready, let us know, and we'll come in and initial them, because it's not a...
We need those.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was giving them to Joyce. I just tired, being in a hurry. They didn't sign that, Joyce, I'm sorry. That was me just kind of trying to move it along. Yeah, I've been here since 7:30.
Really?
Did you get a chance to go home?
I went to lunch. Half an hour and then 15 minutes
Right.
of selectmen stuff.
We don't have a non-public, correct? We're all, we do.
He has a question.
I have a question on the interrogatories. And Joyce doesn't want to discuss them in public.
Right, because this is all.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, sorry, Jane.
Bill wants you to be comfortable with the answers.
Make a motion to enter into non-public session as per RSA 91A:3, consideration and negotiation of pending claims or litigation, which is threatened in writing or filed against the body of agency or any subdivision thereof, against any member thereof, because of his membership in such body of agency, until the claim or litigation has been fully adjudicated or otherwise settled. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 Al, you didn't sign this one for
Did they hand it to me?
truck driver.
I'll be here all day, so it's...
You're ready.
Make a motion to seal the non-public minutes as they pertain to legal issue until
Second.
the issue has been resolved.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Aye?
I'll second that.
Aye,
All those in favor?
All those away?
Oh, my God.
Said it. Yep.
So you've got me loaded up for Friday.